Oh, I probably put together a list of band names. Because somebody told me, it was a local friend of mine, told me that they were banned in my channel, and it's like, I don't know what you're doing on Twitch, but you're banned globally. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. But I had to, I was putting together a list just to propagate that. Back before we could just literally share a ban list with another channel. But Gonad and I did that. We shared our ban list because we ban robots. Robots get banned, and all of these, like, all the spam accounts and stuff like that. But my local friend was not banned in my channel, so I don't know what the deal was with that. You can check to see if an individual is banned, and so when people ask me, I check, and usually if enough time has passed, I'm totally cool with letting people back in. We don't really ban that many people, though. We have very few disciplinary actions happen. A lot of the auto mod gets all kinds of stuff. It's actually pretty good at finding those weird spammy accounts, and then we're not cool enough for the, like, people who are actually bad actors to come in and try to do weird stuff. And they're usually immediately identifiable too. That and people who are asking questions about their homework. Because people are like, Bother, if a train leaves Seattle at 12:45, and I'm like, nope, I've been through that. I'm not answering that question. But yeah, anyway, we got module stuff to work on. The YouTube looking real weird. I guess it's just still loading. It says it's excellent quality, but hello, YouTube. You guys cannot hear any of the, oh, my analytics aren't even loading. What's going on, YouTube? Apparently I'm sending data to YouTube. You guys can't hear the music that I'm playing. I've got like ambient, sort of background-y, hopefully chill music going on in the background. If you're interested in listening to what it is, it's Deckard, Ripecast, My Definition of Chill, Volume 4. I just do that as an intro when I talk to chat. If there are people trickling in, they get the full unredacted, non-disclosed, unpasteurized Bother experience. I just like chatting with you guys about things that are going on and whatnot else is going on before we start working on an actual project. But we're gonna get started pretty quickly here because I actually want to get the 3D printer crunching away at building a front panel for this module that I wish to incorporate into my synthesizer tomorrow. Because tomorrow what I'd like to do is do a gimmicky stream where I have 1 hour, 1 hour to put together some kind of a setup on the modular synthesizer, obviously explaining you guys through what my thoughts are, taking feedback from you guys on what I should be plugging into what and what kind of cool interactions I can get. And then when an ad plays, it turns off the synthesizer. I unplug everything and then we start over until the next ad break. So I think that'll be kind of a fun thing. I need to make sure that I can hear my monitor audio very clearly so that I know what the volume levels are. I think maybe if I plug into, well, that's a hard one, because if I plug into the Focusrite, I'll hear what you guys are hearing minus my voice. If I plug into the mixer, I get a good quick feedback where I'm not like, my voice isn't like shutting me down. I get good quick feedback, but then I'd have to plug the synthesizer into the Rodecaster, which I haven't really done. I haven't set that up. Actually, I think channels 3 and 4 I might have already set up for something like this. What's up, Remy? How you doing? Oh, I'm a sweaty mess right now because I was outside for 2 minutes. My friend brought his dog over and his robot vacuum cleaner, which are two separate entities. But the two dogs, the corgi and his dog, were playing. They were very, very cute doing it. And then the garbage trucks came by and we were worried that they were going to run out at the garbage trucks. They both sat down on the driveway and watched the garbage truck do its thing, to the degree where the garbage guy stopped and said, he said, those are very well behaved dogs that you got there. Those dogs are very well behaved. And I went, what? Because there's this garbage truck that's going over his voice. He was like the softest talking garbage guy ever, but the truck was super loud. And I'm like, yeah, ha ha ha. I eventually figured out that he was complimenting the dogs. They were very well behaved. He said, wish I could get my dog to do that. I'm like, hey, they're scared. I'm scared. They're scared too. Linting. Is that when you pick belly button lint and like flick it? Speaking of, what's up, Haystack? Linting my MATLAB code. I assume it's troubleshooting or something like that. MATLAB is great until it's not. You can do some really cool stuff. But yeah, so now I have this robot vacuum cleaner. Sorry, robot lawnmower. It is a lot more project than I should probably be taking on, but I'm gonna do the dirty and make sure I know what went wrong on this thing. Usually it's just issues with motor controllers just dying. So I've been provided with some of the parts, and this is basically just a please get this off of my list job. So I need to see if it's recoverable, if we can do something about it. I think the best bet for it though is just going to be to vet out that all the systems are working that should be working, and then recommend that I build a motor controller adapter for them. Meanwhile, we're doing some synthesizer stuff. I kind of want to close out a little bit of the synth stuff, because that means that I can now go to Julian's house and do synthesizers with him without all of you tagging along, and I can actually start to learn this stuff. Fixing and analyzing the syntax and style. Yeah, MATLAB's a little different. It's just a little different. It's a little bit more, it's like basic. It feels like basic. But it's, I mean, ultimately it is a very, very powerful and useful system. Done some weird stuff with MATLAB in my day. Older versions of MATLAB, obviously. How's AI at MATLAB code? I'm sure it's got plenty that it can work from. Not that I think you should be using AI for anything, but just shooting the breeze here. The module testing module made out of modules and stuff. We gotta do some good with that thing too. Meth lab. You got that math lab. I got meth lab. Get on my level. MATLAB IDE is Copilot integrated into it. Ah, interesting. Oh, YouTube chat. There we go. I forgot to start it up. Start it up automatically. What's up, Lawn Dog? Hey, oh bother, IB here, and I'm doing pretty well. I don't think YouTube is hooked up on your screen. Yeah, it is now. It is now. Sorry about that. That starts automatically if I close the program and open it up again, so it caught me. So yeah, now you guys are on screen. All good. It's all good. It's all good. How's YouTube? How's YouTube? Hanging? Does YouTube hang? I don't know what YouTube does. Yeah, this will be pretty easy to just hook up to the auto plug thing that I have. You said starting. You said starting and it got petulant at you. It was impressive when I first started the project. Now it's kind of doesn't know what to do. I've only used it for predictive, never asked it directly. Yeah, so the predictive stuff I guess could be pretty useful. I never really got too good at the MATLAB coding. I had classmates who were very good at MATLAB coding indeed. So good that I never learned MATLAB coding properly. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. Don't copy the homework. Learn it. Because they made a whole like moon landing program and everything. Like, I had no idea. We were doing a lot of really advanced control system stuff in MATLAB, and I should have learned that language. It could have given me a little bit of a breakthrough earlier. I would have known how to code a little better. You guys, chat, years and years ago, ended up being my IDE and essentially teaching me Python and how easy Python was if you get in the right headspace. It's kind of crazy. Look at that blue rock. It's not blue. It's just the show made it blue. And then everybody copied it. When I speak of doing well, I'm talking about creating squiggly lines on the Libre, all within the green zone. Ah, yes, the squiggles that are within the lines are always nice. Mine have been coasting. I've been doing just like the solid flat line glucose levels. Good. It's crazy that I'm able to achieve that, but you know, not eating as much and sometimes making decent choices about a 450 watch streak. This always gets me. Why is it there? Move that to the end. Haystack is on a 5 stream streak, not a 450. Those are the channel points that they earn, the fart points that they earn from announcing that stuff. You know, I should be careful. I should probably de-incentivize. You guys are earning You guys are getting undue channel points, leading to more farts in my ears due to your activity. So hard for me to maintain a flat line. Usually starts drifting downward, or if I don't eat something eventually. Yeah, well, I have the advantage of all the automated systems, and my glucose sensitivity's gone way up in the recent past, like the past 2-3 weeks. It's gone way up, so it's been a huge boon to my health. Now, if only I can get to sleep early every night. I got a kind of early sleep last night, which is damning if you haven't done that in a while, right? When you suddenly switch up the sleep schedule, unfortunately, it makes me extremely lethargic until I get used to it. How's it going? I'm in the middle of explaining that. How are you? Always, we're like old people here. We're talking about our health all the time. My skin fell off. Yeah, no, it's... I'm doing great. I'm doing great, actually. I've felt a little useless, though. I haven't gotten a lot done. I had a buddy drop off a robot vacuum cleaner that we're going to take a look at in a couple weeks. Hell yeah, same with sleep. Yeah, it takes a day or two. It's got like a day or two lag. The concept of glucose sensitivity is this interesting bit of terminology. Last week I was struggling with small amounts of insulin. Insulin sensitivity is a blanket over a lot of extraordinarily complex and hard to influence health and body and living things that all sort of come together under the purview of that term. Glucose sensitivity, yeah, getting your insulin to bump down your glucose level better. It depends on, what food you've eaten, if it's like super easily processable, exercise, blood flow, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we're taking external insulin, so our body doesn't like it as much. And external insulin that's been created, by man, not an organ. It depends on the age of the insulin, how long it's been out of the fridge. These are small factors, but there can be variance from bottle to bottle. And there often are variances between bottle to bottle. That's what the $20 Walmart insulin is so dangerous, because the variation between two bottles of that stuff can be high enough to affect the diabetic. And any change in the whole control system, any change in the therapy can be fatal. It's very difficult to sort of counter for. I've been staring at this thing for weeks. I gotta find a job for this. Do you guys know what I can do with this? Ideas in the Discord, because if we can figure out what to do with the Flipper Zero, it does a whole lot of stuff. People write apps for this all the time, and it does a lot of cool, like, nefarious stuff. Can we scan for like flock cameras? Can we do that with this? I don't know if this is on those frequencies. I might need to get a more powerful radio module for it or something. But this has just been sitting. It's just been sitting. I feel like I need to do something. My neighbor gave me this. They said, yeah, you could have it. What? Okay. And they bought another one for themselves. I was going to buy one myself, and then the credit card company said, hey, we noticed you were on that shady website. I'm like, their website is not shady. Why did you flag that? So I didn't end up being able to buy one. You have a Flipper Zero. I've always wanted one. I don't know what to do with the damn thing now that I have one. I looked around and I said, well, cool, there's some Wi-Fi stuff. But really, you do Wi-Fi with other devices. So I can break into a Hyundai if I have the right programs on it. But actually, the friend who was just over knows all kinds of stuff about this. I'm going to have to actually hang out with him at some point and pick his brain about the Flipper Zero. I got one from work. Oh, you got off from work and now you're here. All right. Welcome to the living world outside of work. We're going to poke around at a bunch of synth modules today. I'm hiccuping. I had what is that called? Not a frittata. It was I don't know, some egg thing with a bunch of vegetables in it. The information you're passing along from true experience really hits home, from my understanding, and I agree with everything you said. Yeah, so the main thing that brought, the constant glucose monitor brought to the table was knowing the types of foods that have certain effects on my glucose level. if I have a white bread, apparently I can process that into glucose very quickly. But having that real-time information also means like, oh, I'm drifting low. What's going on? I guess I exercised. That must be what happened when I exercised. So that type of information, the type of real-time update is just so important with the constant glucose monitor. You are performing the actions that an organ would do autonomously 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you have to take up that bill. You're not capable of doing it. You don't have the same exact information that your pancreas has. And so the constant glucose monitor is part of a way to bridge that gap. So you can get a minute to breathe, so you can sleep, you know, that kind of stuff. And so working with it constantly with insulin therapy it's a thing. It's a constant thing that you got to do, but you get used to it. You start to learn the proclivities of both of them. And then the sensor expires and you're out of it for 2 hours, during which your glucose level goes back to 300. Like the thing clicks in with the first glucose level after 2 hours, and it says you're 295. You're like, what the fuck? What? Hey! And so you got to take a bunch of insulin. I used to do the same stuff like 5 years ago. Now I want to restart. Can you help me set up a lab and learning material? That's a tough thing to do, because I haven't learned in 20 years. You know, I've done this stuff all my life, and even if I had a different job, I would have the soldering iron in my hand almost daily. That's just that's why I'm on Twitch. That's why I'm streaming, because I can do this for hours and hours at a time without taking a break. That's me. So I don't expect somebody who's just starting out to be able to keep up, but in the same sense, I don't know how to learn it anymore. There's so many more resources out there, and it's beautiful. We get that question a little bit here, and I try to provide resources, but I don't know what the good resources are because I haven't learned in so long. There's tons of like videos out there and how-tos and things that'll help get you an understanding of this stuff. In terms of what you should buy, I don't know what to require. Like, I don't know anymore. There's so many cheap pieces of test equipment. Like, my soldering iron is a Pace ADS 200. This thing hasn't been sold for a while now, and this is like brand new. A viewer sent me a new one, and it's got like, this is like a good like industrial soldering iron. This thing will solder in I should turn it off because it's wasting a lot of power. So this is like, this is a $75 solder stand. It's just a little piece of flared like brake line and a bracket, but it holds the spool really well. You shouldn't buy that. You should not. There's better stuff that's cheap. It's like, what do you recommend? We need to find the good stuff. Yeah. Knowing what my blood sugar level is by just getting out my phone changes the way I do everything, and I can stay ahead of problems. Yeah, it's really quite good. You can get a lot more confident with what you're doing with the glucose levels too. You know, I'm going to inject a bunch of units, and if I start to go low, I'll be able to get to orange juice before I pass out. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So anyway, aside from me glazing constant glucose monitors or unrecommending things, I really don't know how to go about learning this stuff again, but there are sites like SparkFun that I'm pretty sure has got some tutorials in it, but and the stuff to buy, yeah, I don't know. I think one of the better things to do, and this is sort of how I came about it, was I want to do something. I want to do this thing. How do I do this thing? Well, I can do it by doing this, that, and the other thing, and I'll probably need a soldering iron and some wrenches and maybe this, and that eventually gets there, right? Or you can inherit half-broken tools. I've done that quite a bit. If you're really like, yeah, this shop stuff, like doing the electronics and stuff is really fun. I want to do a lot more of it. I want to be doing it like on a daily basis. Then look for estate sales. We be dying all the time, electronics and tool people. We're always dying. And when we die, getting somebody else who's interested in this stuff to come and take all of our old crap, exhume this stuff from our corpse of a shop is an honor. So finding an estate sale or eBay or buying the cheap tool, and then when it breaks, you buy the slightly nicer tool. That's usually the good way to go, because sometimes the cheap tool will do just fine. But you figure out what you like doing that, and then it eventually just very, very slowly evolves into knowing your way around this kind of stuff. It's a slow process. It's a frustrating process. Things never work the first time, and then you start to learn all the little things that can go wrong and how they can go wrong. So, yeah, to the right person. I have to actually figure out where they are. I preach, but I don't practice. I always tell people, look for estate sales. And people go, bother, are there estate sales around you? And I'm like, fuck if I know. I don't know. Huh? You guys didn't hear me curse just then. I did not utter a curse word. I have this feeling that YouTube is going to like judge me, even though they say they don't. And I'm going to lose like one of my 3 viewers. YouTube's looking pretty healthy these days, though. It seems like I should maybe start to think about getting the interactivity bots onto YouTube so that your chat also can do stuff. I don't know if I can monetize yet. They're kind of weird about monetization. It's like you're either super famous or not. I don't know how to get better discoverability on YouTube. To get discoverability on Twitch, we started running mid-roll ads, and I hate myself as much as you guys hate me for running them. I don't like the mid-roll ads, but not having the pre-roll ads means I get discoverable, I guess. I don't know. Estate sale shops. I guess I gotta find if there are any of those around here, because rich people be dying all the time, and my area is full of them. Blighty cancer that they are on society, I could probably get some cool stuff. They probably operate on a different scale, though, to be fair. I was followed by a Maserati today. I was driving around. Secondhand stores, yeah. We've got a Goodwill nearby, so I could maybe look there. Okay, well, let's just like start. Let's start. I'm gonna actually work on stuff and get the stuff out of here and lower the volume and blah blah blah. We were talking earlier about a module that I want to build, and I'm not going to get to that yet. But if anybody knows anything about the Speak and Spell and the Speak and Math, I have a Speak and Spell that's like completely destroyed. And I would love to get the chips out of that and somehow hook it up to some kind of a microcontroller platform that I can use. And I'm not really sure how to do that. It's kind of a complicated thing. It's not like you don't send it like a serial code that says, hey, say the, and then it goes, da, and does it all weird. No, you have to make it go, and make the phonemes somehow. So I got to figure that out. And then I would love to punch that into a Eurorack module. I think it would be funny. Hook it to the stream. I do not want to listen to you guys in the horrifying Speak and Spell voice. I don't want to listen to that. No, I was thinking, have you guys ever seen Milton T. Pike 1? Oh, we can get that out of there. Hey, what's up, Speedy Cat? How you doing? When stream has been starting soon for nearly 45 minutes. I usually do an hour. And it's not, you know, whatever. It's just chewing the fat with all my friends. But the idea behind this Speak and Spell, if I could get that working on the level that I want to, I basically want to send it words. Because if I can send it words, then I could do something in chat, which would be like, if you've ever seen Milton T. Pike 1, he doesn't match my energy. My energy is a little bit more chill. Milton is more, when I turn on his stream, he's screaming and crying and throwing up because he ate a bean that tastes like earwax. I'm always like, what a chill morning. Let's see what Milton is up to. And his stream is just him going, and like throwing up, and it's crazy. It's just insane. A lot of good energy there. It's something that I look up to. But one of the things that he has in his chat, because his chat is just rowdy and fun, toxic positivity. His chat is always rolling, people talking. It's a 1,500 person stream, right? He's got something called Neural Johnson bot, which aside from sounding like brain penis bot, which I think is the point. What Neural Johnson is it's an AI. It's a neural network. Neural network, a little bit more rudimentary than your sort of spoken word AI or whatever the hell learning language model. It's a little bit more rudimentary. And what it does is it tries to come up with a unique sentence based on chat messages that have been put into his chat. And so all those chatters are being rowdy and fun and leaving all these messages. And the Neural Johnson will say something that is just completely off the wall and weird and slightly human, but kind of not. Like it'll request like, hey, Milton, I love your stream, but you have your pants up or something like that. And you're like, wait, huh? And I think that would be, and I'm making all these weird noises. Why bother with making all these weird noises? I want to roll that into the Speak and Spell, because if I have a module where I can actually tell it to say things, I can feed it information like a trigger signal to speak the next word or to speak a couple words. And I can have control voltages that control whether or not what it's saying sounds like words. I can have it speak the whole phrase. I can have a control voltage that does the speed of which it's saying the phrase. And so given all of that, oh, and it's something to restart saying the phrase. And with those controls, you can do what a DJ does with a sample. You know, turn the record back, slow it down, turn the record back, play a couple words, turn the record a little bit, let it say the last word that it just said, that kind of thing. So 7 is my favorite. That's the really wet one, isn't it? It's always the really extreme. You guys exist in extremes. We're having a bit more of a chill day. I have some modules to test that I want to see how they work. And then I'm going to see whether or not we can set up for what I want to do tomorrow. But the first things first, we do have this Vactrol device, and I've built a bunch of stuff onto it. This is another nonlinear circuit. What is it called? It's called NLC, LPG. It's low pass gain. Who wants to die for art? I guess raise your hands. So what this is it's a couple, by the way, it was all through hole, and I decided to use surface mount parts. You weirdo. What am I doing? Wheezy peas? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. I ain't do nothing. Anyway, this is a nonlinear circuit that I kind of want to put together today and get sort of the rest of the way there. This basically takes audio in and it puts it into a low pass or a nonlinear, I don't know, nonlinear circuits, low pass G. I don't know what G is. Anyway, it puts it through a filter, but it also incorporates what's called a Vactrol. Vactrol is a made-up word. It's a made-up word. It's not really all that like. It's a thing that people who do audio stuff really like to use. There's one in that amplifier circuit from the place where I got the amplifier for this mic circuit. They have a whole Vactrol thing that they do over there. It's just for isolation, but basically the Vactrol in this one is the white component loose. No, although it can hold on because it's got little weird clippy legs on those. It's a potentiometer for adjusting stuff. I think that's what you were talking about. These are through hole, but there's nothing there. What this is, the Vactrol, is 2 photoresistors. Photoresistor is one of those components that you only see at the garden shop or on some outdoor pieces of equipment that are supposed to know when the sun's up or not. You put light into a material and it becomes more or less resistive. That's what a photoresistor is. It takes a little bit for the photoresistor to keep up. So I think I've seen it where they try to put audio through one. I guess maybe that works in some scenarios, but the resistor is just in line with this filter and it controls one of the parameters. But in order to get that sort of Vactrol feel, you got 2 photoresistors and an LED, and it's in its own little container. And so you have a control voltage and you have a knob that controls how bright that LED is, and then the properties of the photoresistor determine what kind of audio is going through there. Those components are so cool. They're like a 10 to 15 year old, for ages 10 to 15 year old DIY electronics kind of thing. I don't see not Vactrols. I don't see photoresistors used outside of either garden supply equipment, security equipment, or like, super basic security equipment or audio stuff. It's very weird. And they're like a $15 component. So we're just going to make one. I ordered these against my will. I didn't want to have to order 25 photoresistors because photoresistors is one of those components that I just throw out. I don't want anything to do with these freaking things. They're Little Billy's Basic Electronics book components. I don't use them in anything. But now I've got a bunch. I'm glad somebody here is a fan of them because I'm not. I don't know, man. I saw a soldering iron and hot air station 2-in-1. Should I buy a 2-in-1 device or should I buy them both separately? I can't say, man. I don't know. Mine are separate because I've got like the Ferrari. Ferrari's not reliable enough. I've got the, I don't know, like Toyota Camry. No, that's not a good one because that's cheap. What is the analogy here? Hold on, my setup got, there we go. That thing's getting weird. What is going on over here? Camera arms showing signs of wear and tear. Ah! Whoa, that's hard to loosen. Why is it so tight? Here, hold on, I gotta loosen this thing up. Jeez. Over the years, this thing must have really tightened itself. Oh, now this, okay. You got, wait. No, can you, okay. I gotta give that a little bit more. I'm getting sick. Gird your loins. There's no throwing up on the bother bus. Okay. So, 2-in-1 station. I don't know. The things that I look for in the soldering iron are the tips being replaceable, because having a bunch of different soldering iron tips lets you do a bunch of different jobs. May not be all that relevant if you're just starting to learn. Don't spend a ton of money is really my biggest recommendation. Don't buy yourself into the poorhouse by trying to start out at electronics. If you know that you're going to be using stuff for a long time, then I can talk to you. But before that, I mean, just the little basic soldering iron and stuff, something that's temperature control. You want to make sure that you've got temperature control if you're going to be doing this kind of stuff that we're doing, because if you don't get a temperature controlled iron, it can run away with the temperature and then you're way too hot on like a surface mount pad and it'll lift off of the board. You want to be able to control that temperature accurately. So something with like a digital readout on the temperature, or, you know, your $100, what do you call it? $100, or a little soldering irons, a little screen on them. Those things are pretty good. And also what everybody else is using. Maybe check out like a Reddit thread and just see how many people are talking about what soldering irons. And if there's a lot of people talking about it, see if there's like a whole community of people that are using that same soldering iron, because if there are, then parts will be easier to find, right? But I am just spitballing because I don't actually know. I got the ADS-200 and I just discovered it's harder to find the tips now. I used to be able to just jump on like Amazon and order like 5 tips. But now I have to go to Pace's website and buy them from Pace. And I'm going to be spending about $20 to $30 a tip on the thing, which sucks because they wear out with the frequency that I use them. I hope that helps. I really do. I'm sorry I can't be super definitive about what I'm talking about. Father's right, I'm stuck with the temp control, my tips with the iron, but I love my old-timey Weller. The Radio Shack special burns down your house iron, I don't recommend. NanoFix does a lot of reviews. Oh, check that out. Yeah, definitely. Watch some reviews on these devices, find one that fits your budget and purpose. Yeah, but be careful, because those guys are provided a free soldering iron to review, and they go, wow, this is so positive and everything's great. It's like falling apart. Okay, yeah, so anyway, we're going to be building this filter, and I want to set up something for tomorrow. Tomorrow I want to do a gimmicky stream. I think it would be a lot of fun if, basically, well, I'll explain it again later. I've explained it about 30 times. I'll definitely throw another one. We've got an ad that's about to start, so I'm going to let that run. We got about 2 minutes until it runs, so I can tell you about the idea before we go to the ad break. The idea is basically tomorrow what I want to do is have every time an ad break runs, it will turn off my modular synthesizer, which means I have an hour in between ad breaks to figure something out, make something that sounds cool. So I'm going to have headphones on and everything so that I know what the audio levels are going to you guys. But for that hour, I can just plug stuff in, create. Ah, cool sound. Oh, that's a weird fart. Oh, I made a cat meow. At the expiry of that time, power goes off. I have to unplug everything, start over. That's the idea. My Radio Shack iron works fine. If it's everything that you need for the things you need to do, who am I to judge, right? Who am I to judge? Every time I mention something, yeah, I decided to buy a pencil, and they go, bother, you didn't buy the pencil that I bought. My pencil's better. And I'm like, yeah, fine. Okay. The Radio Shack house burning iron, though, feels like a bit of a liability, just because it's sort of it does have temperature regulation on it. Otherwise, it would definitely burn down everybody's house. But it's still kind of a liability. It's just like, you know, we call them irons because they used to be a piece of iron. You used to heat up a piece of iron and do your soldering with that. Not really, but can I ask you a question? Well, clearly that hasn't stopped you. If I can get Domino's delivered for $5 total, do you think that's worth it? Might be able to get it picked up and pay like 50 cents. Why are you asking a type 1 diabetic if getting delivered? Oh, the soldering guns are hilarious. The ones with the little light bulb on them that just like explode. You hit the thing and like 500 watts goes into the tip. I've never really used those. I don't like them. Anyway, $5 Domino's, it's up to you, man. Are you on a college budget? If so, go for it. You can put it in the fridge. Pizza around here, it's like 60 bucks. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. My dad's a ham radio guy and had one. I burned myself a few times on it. Yeah, because they're crazy. I don't know. Nowadays, everything is microelectronic. Everything's really small. And so doing the repair job. Does Philly not have Little Caesars? I mean, I'm sure it does. Again, type 1 diabetic. I'm not really looking to order a pizza. So, all right, we got 10 seconds until the ad break's over. This thing didn't come on because somebody said idea during the beginning of the ad break. So we're going to have to relegate. That's going to probably need to be a new bulb. All right, back from the ad break. How's everybody doing? We're talking about whether or not GoMania should order $5 pizza. I can't do Domino's. That stuff is so salty it make my feet swell. Yeah, that's the other thing is this is like bottom of the barrel. Do you have like a better... Wait, why is that? Wait, oh, that's the start of the... That was the start of the ad. Oh, so we're still running. What the fuck? Did it just start 2 ads? Running 3-minute manually will remove the upcoming auto ad. Ad break in progress. 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Yeah, it only just now started. All right, so I'm gonna like not talk about anything. I need to make it put something up on screen, but we'll make that later. I guess what I'm gonna do next is probably do the Fusion 360 thing. I don't think we're gonna be able to finish this module unless I really kick it into gear and ignore you guys. But we're having more of a chatty stream, so I was like, Little Caesars could get. I can't read today, I'm sorry. I always like Little Caesars could get a pizza and have money left over for the weed and soda. We don't have that kind of money anymore. I wonder if even just saying, you know, like weeding the garden, I wonder if that, because YouTube is insidious with their algorithms, and I have zero proof of this actually being a thing. Like zero, no proof of this at all. But I feel like the algorithm is always judging you, right? Because if you say like curse words, you're not supposed to... Used to be rather, if you said a curse word, they would flag you and like bump you down to less discoverability on YouTube. I have a feeling that still exists because YouTube doesn't really like stop doing things. They may say you're allowed to say curse words now, but they probably still have all of that Google AI looking at you and judging you. I wonder about that. So I need to be squeaky clean for like the start of the show. I don't know how well I can do that. Irony is Domino's ad here. You've got a Domino's ad. Jeez. I don't know. The big pizza places. Listen, I live in the Northeast and it is just terrible mistake to go to like your Sbarro's, your Domino's, Little Caesars. You have to have a gun to my head to make me go to those places over Pasquale's or Joe Neighborhood's deli, right? Because those exist here. We're in the Northeast. They're at a higher standard here. So I am not going to Little Caesars. This is the last item on my... I would rather scrape stuff out of the fridge. They gotta be, if for no other reason than training AI. I have a feeling it affects the discoverability of the stream. I mean, we had like 7 people watching on YouTube. I'm not even doing anything. We got 11 now. Okay, that's kind of awesome. Thank you, YouTubers. I really appreciate you guys watching over there. You know, the YouTube thing is more of a strategy just to get my VODs out there. Oh, ad break's over? Cool, we got 48 minutes. How's everybody doing? Yeah, so the idea that I want to set up today, I don't know if I'm going to get through building the Vactrol thing, and I don't know how much utility I'm going to get out of this thing. I think what I want to do is set up that ad break thing and then test my ADSR, because I'd like to have the ADSR. If I can get the ADSR working, I don't think I'll be able to do the kitty meow noise with this. I think I have to use crimes and ornamentation, because you need to compress the ADSR effect in order to get the meow 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 sound, and I wanted that to be one of the segments of tomorrow. So I kind of want to get this thing working. So maybe we'll look at this, and I'm gonna shelve the Vactrol for a little bit. I'll figure out how I want to put that together and get all the parts and design the panel in the background, because it's not that exciting to do. What you doing today? Miscellaneous, basically just hanging out with you all. If you guys got anything cool to say, you can talk. And we're just gonna test some stuff. I brought the M303 over here, and I took one look at it, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. This thing was cool. If I could just explain this, if you guys will indulge me for a minute. A German company, acidlab.de, decided that they wanted to make a modular synthesizer version of the 303. The 303 is the legendary acid house synthesizer, groove box, whatever. And so they made this into a modular. They took Carl Cox and they made a modular, and they put it into here. So this is the same circuit as the original 303, but instead of being 1990s technology, they used early 2000s to slightly modern day surface mount parts. And the circuit is very similar. Some of the parts that weren't available became somewhat available, and some of the... Oh, we got a raid! Code Rushed! How you doing, Code Rushed? With a party of 6. By the way, Code Rushed and Bother viewers, hold on, I'm trying to get to it without spilling everything. We also should probably do a Kerbal Space Program stream once I get the sim setup running. I'll have to buy the mod that Ravaz bought that does really good clouds in Kerbal. Ravaz is playing that right now. That's why I turned around and I saw him on my other screen. This is the Air Raid Siren. I was just playing around. Whoever designed this thing can... I want to hurt them. I want them to be hurt, because they designed it in such a way that you can't tighten down the motor properly. You can see here the motor is completely covered, which it really shouldn't be. There should be some holes down here for cooling. I need to get into that to put screws through it to hold it down. And to do that, that means that I have to take off all of these outside screws. I have to undo this one, take the impeller off, then I can screw it down, then I have to put all that back together. It could use just like a little hole in some of these, just a little hole so that I can get a screwdriver through to put this together, because it's much easier to build this separate. But yeah, this will be maybe eventually, if it's not too loud, which I think it might be, I think this is going to be way too loud to run, but I'm going to try. I would like it if it's quiet, because that way, yes, Code Rushed is getting bad ideas. That way, if I get a raid, we can have this thing go ree. But I don't know, it's probably going to scare the shit out of my dog, so I might not want to run it. Anyway, all this interactivity stuff is kind of what we're doing today. We're just shooting the breeze about projects, and I'm going to just casually do some tests here to see that some of these things are working or not. Maybe we'll take apart a light bulb. I don't know. It's just one of those days where I'm completely unfocused. So yeah, the M303, the joy of acid Chicago. What is it called again? I don't know. Anyway, that type of techno where there's a, you know, the blade music and stuff. This thing is just so aggressive and crunchy. It's great. However, the geniuses at acidlabs.de wanted you to use their beautiful copy of the 303 in modular synthesizer, their M303, with their own proprietary modular synthesizer system, or Eurorack. You had the option of using either one. So what they have in their beautiful, wonderful system are these IDC, these flat cables, that are sort of a whisper down the lane style thing. So you would plug one of the Acid Lab modules into another one, and then you would be able to send internal, you know, control signals and stuff like that. So they made their own proprietary setup with some kind of a thing at the bottom, and then they've got the grounds offset a little bit. But how do you make that? How do you plug that into Eurorack? Well, you put an IDC cable, and you give them an IDC cable that can plug anywhere in the line. So these little guys right here, these little doohickeys, can plug in pretty much anywhere. when you have a total of 24 volts running through your system, and you can plug your power cable anywhere you want, it leads to very, very bad things. Basically, the two users that sent me these devices both did the same oopsie-daisy, which is not hard to do. Listen, I do not blame them. Just like my friend who blew up his robot vacuum, I don't blame you. Blowing up a device that uses tons of MOSFETs in a very sensitive configuration, that's not hard to do. That's very easy to do. And so no fault at all there. I completely understand. And, you know, I get the self-deprecation from these guys going, you know, I blew it up because I'm dumb. No, you're not dumb. This is a design issue. So like with this, the MOSFET thing is less a design issue, but it's just a thing that always happens. This one is extremely easy to plug in like this. And if you plug it in like this, you are blowing it up. And when it blows up in such a way that it is somehow extremely vexing to a now expert in modular synthesizer equipment. I don't know what's wrong with this. The output seems to be there, but it's not loud enough. And I've replaced their final op amp several times. Maybe we need to go part spelunking for the appropriate op amp at the end of this thing, but I don't know what else could be going wrong. There's a lot going on in this thing too. It's pretty dense little circuit. Although, you know, it would be nice if they put like any kind of a marking down here to tell us where this thing should be plugged in, because the only place you can find this is on forums where they took pictures and they include a thing with you. Hey, if you're going to plug it into your Euro rack, you got to offset this thing by 1 pin. It is crazy. It's I feel for the people who blew them up, and I feel for the user who's I've still got the box that they sent this in just so that I have their address. They may have given up on me. I have not given up on them. We will bring this back and I will fix these because I'm getting really frustrated. Just the nature of MOSFETs. Yeah, they get crackly, huh? Symmetrical cables, but they're not. Would a smaller horn or fan be quieter? I'm not sure. I don't know how loud these are going to be. If I just do this, you can sometimes hear it go blah, 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 blah. I mean, I can, you know what? Hold on. Take that. And then I've got to unfurl my mic cable. We'll do the thing that we did the other week, and I kind of messed up, but now we can actually do it correctly. And then I need the adapter. Where's the adapter? I got a couple sitting over here. Which one are you? Let's see. Let's use this one. Actually, I think this one allows misalignment. I'm excited for the doodad to work. We've got a bunch of doodads that we need to take a look at. See, now it's going to generate electricity over there. Nope. I've decided to order Domino's. I mean, if it's just $5, it's pretty cool. You can't do that anymore, man. I remember just needing a $20 bill to get a bunch of pizzas. So that's going to be like... This one seems to charge up pretty nicely, whereas this one just almost instantly... filled crust. Are you hitting on me? Okay, so anyway, that's what that's going to do eventually. I don't think this will be too loud, actually, if we control the speed enough. And it'll sound like an air raid siren. That'll be pretty cool. It tickles my ears. Yeah, it does make some very low frequencies, too, at slow speed. Hopefully it'll just be, like, audible to us. All right, put that away. Put it all away. What are you doing with all this crap on your desk? Put it all away. All right, what do I want to do? We want to test the ADSR because I want to make sure that this thing works. Yeah, the thing that is really gonna, we need to get something that supports the controller that we want, and then I'll be able to turn on the sine wave like interpretation on it so that it'll be quiet. We'll be able to run it at low speed quietly, and it won't make that sort of motor cogging noise that drones make. And that way, this thing can softly go brrrr when somebody raids in, and that'll be our little air raid siren thing. I also probably should find something that can function as a base for that this screws into. But my problem with the engineering of this is that you have to take off the impeller in order to get this thing attached, which is very, very annoying. A modern Leslie speaker. I feel like I've seen that before. People have linked me to like speaker curiosities, and like they're one of those effects that is largely physical. There's also, what's that one where they have a bunch of speakers in a big cabinet and they just spin around? Spinning speakers internal for Leslie organs. That's yeah, very weird. Very weird. So my scheme on the synth, the Eurorack synth has not, the vinyl has not been working out all that great. That is what those are. Like, hey man, the Doppler effect is pretty cool. Let's put a speaker on a drum and spin it. Back when a light show was just a bunch of oil in a coffee can. Craziness. I need some cables to test this thing. Let me get these wires that I keep over here. Pretty cool, all these wires. So what I want to set up for tomorrow is a system by which when an ad plays, my synthesizer gets turned off. And I may bring in, I don't know if I'll bring in the 505 because I haven't really done anything with the 505 yet. I've been trying to learn it and it's been baffling to a degree. But maybe, let me turn on the scope. We're going to need the scope for this. Maybe I can bring in the little keyboard that I have and we can just have fun making weird noises. You got smart drinks at raves. Distortion pedals are just overdriving amp circuits. Yeah. My favorite is the like echo and resonance. That is essentially a giant steel plate, and using guitar pickups and like piezo, you basically pump your audio into a giant steel plate and it rattles around in the steel plate and then you pick up on it again. That's one of my favorites. The problem is, in order to get one that sounds good, you need a plate that's like the size of a walkway. It needs to be huge. All right, so I plugged into the ADSR, and it seems like the ADSR is actually a little bit newer than the other filter we built because it puts the standoff off to the side, which is nice. Or I might have done that. I might have done that. These nonlinear circuits, they need a little revision, but since Nonlinear Circuits puts out a new module every month, they can't be asked, and I don't expect them to either. Oh yeah, it's going to start storming here. We're going to have a huge rainstorm. Okay, the testing module. I really meant for this to be able to be hooked up to another module, but what this is a custom I2S thing that I built using a Teensy 4. You don't need a Teensy 4. I thought I was going to be doing a lot more with this than just outputting 6 channels, but the Teensy 4 can be overclocked to like 600 megahertz, which has no business in any kind of this microcontroller stuff. It's able to pump out I2S, and I'm able to actually get different signals on all of these, and so I can make all of the signals that I would need to trigger something like an ADSR. And so once the scope, there's the scope on, so let's get the scope on. Boop. There we go. A real-time oscilloscope thanks to the Rigol unit that I purchased. What an ADSR is supposed to be is an envelope. An envelope is essentially your DJ flipping back and forth between the turntables, except there's only one turntable, so you're turning the volume up and down on your audio that's coming in. Actually, all this is making is the voltage signal that will control that. So you could put an ADSR into a bunch of different functions. You could make it either a control voltage to turn the volume up and down. You could have it do a filter effect. When you hit a button, what the ADSR is doing is determining how that button looks when it's getting hit. And the button will represent sort of a progression of voltage. So if you press and hold down a normal button, it just turns on and stays on, right? But if you have an ADSR in line with that, you press the button and the voltage will shoot up suddenly, then come down a little bit as it sustains, and then it'll taper off as you let go. So there's different stages of what you can do with a button press, and that's what this thing makes. It makes that output signal from that. So we're going to look for that on the scope. And I'm going to try to give it signals from here to make it do that attack, decay, sustain, and R, whatever R, drop off, drop off. There we go. All right, power this thing on. We can see the different functions that I programmed into this. Ooh, it's raining a lot now. Good, we needed some rain. So I've got gate, tuning, and LFO or trigger. There's a pulse, 0.8 hertz. I've got a big triangle wave. I've got a gate that goes low to high and a gate that goes high to low. They're not really all coordinated. I don't have a rate that these things happen. I just have fixed programmed things because I made this very quickly. Some of these are reliable, some of them are not. Let's just check to see what we have on our triangle wave. We basically have a gate and a trigger, right? So for a gate, I think, oh yeah, this one's damaged. If I like wiggle it just right. Come on, buddy. This is another reason why I wanted to rebuild this. Because this is not the right signal by you. It's like if I touch it, yeah, if I touch it. Why does that work? It's release. Okay, yeah, thank you. Listen, if I don't know terminology, it's because I'm testing you. So we'll give it a plus minus 10 volt gate. You see nothing's happening with the LED here. And then I'll take that trigger pulse, put it into trigger. So technically we should be seeing something happen here. If I look at my output, nada. What if we try the other direction? Nothing. All right, so something is definitely wrong. Let's turn attack all the way up, decay all the way down, decay all the way up. Nope. Release, back and forth, sustain, back and forth. Are we getting power? We are getting power. We're getting metered power. We're not taking up a significant amount of power here. Are we getting warm? Oh, that is very warm. Why are we so warm? What are, uh-oh. Why are you, hold on, wait, okay, whoa, that's looking a little explodey. Typically I would not stop things from exploding, but I guess we're gonna have to investigate this. The thermal camera, by the way, if you're doing a lot of troubleshooting of electronics, thermal camera is like a really good asset. Why are you getting so hot? What are so heated? It's like concentrated in, okay, let's go a little closer. Will the splody hurt? Yes, both my ears and my face. There aren't components where it's getting, oh, those are these resistors. Oh, this is an earlier nonlinear circuits design, so they got these stupid resistors in there to bleed off current. I'm gonna get rid of those. We're gonna replace those with Schottky diodes. Oh, is that an Invader Zim? I usually know my way around the Invader Zim quotes. A lot of the times I'm on subreddits going, why would you draw that? Why would you draw these things? Okay, I'm going to replace those with diodes because those will bleed off voltage and they'll keep this thing from being reverse powered. But at the same time, I need to actually check this connector. Can't really get into these because all the components are in the way. That's going to be very difficult for me to get in. I may just need to remove this whole connector and redo it. I'm wondering if maybe I put the connector in upside down or something. Oh, but I do have diodes on it. Why are you getting so hot? I guess these are supposed to be larger 10Ks. Those are 50 volt, 10 microfarad. That one looks a little damaged, actually. Oh no, that's just crud. That's just crud. Rewatched that show many times. I recently did a watch of it, and It's still good. It's just that the last block of episodes really kind of dropped off suddenly in quality. But yeah, we used to watch that show all the time. That was a wonderful, wonderful show. Of course, Julian was a Jonan Vasquez fan. He's the one that had all the Johnny the Homicidal Maniac comics. Hello? Oh, I gotta turn it on. As if you couldn't tell that. I mean, overall, I don't... Well, some things look a little dodgy. Some of them look a little dodgy. Mostly they look okay. And this is a fairly simple circuit. It's a lot of just transistors and passives and diodes. But I also butt-headedly decided to go with surface mount on it. And that could explain a lot of the sort of dodginess of the circuit. So we're just going to troubleshoot our way through this thing, and maybe we can actually figure it out. Why is my ADSR not ADSRing? I don't think it's like a misconnection on a resistor. That's not floating. And those two 100Ks or the two 10Ks are kind of doing what they're supposed to do. Let's get a circuit of this opened up so we can see what the topography is, what we're up against. I'll turn off my little module tester and get the scope out of the way. Let's see what we can figure out. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this, chat. I didn't see it when it aired because it was not shown in France. I discovered it randomly later while browsing the English internet. What a gem. So, you know, the oh look, kooky random humor of the early 2000s, that show is very much steeped in that sort of humor, and so that can get kind of grating after a little while watching Invader Zim, because, you know, we all thought that was hilarious back in the day, but I was a little older than the demographic of the show. We still loved it to death, though, and it does kind of hold up today, even though that millennial cringe humor, it's in there and it's cringy. But keep in mind, this is a show on cable that everybody had. This is Nickelodeon, right? Kids show, kids network. Flipping through channels and suddenly you find this cartoon on a kids network where an alien is stealing everyone's organs in graphic detail and replacing them with funny haha random objects. That is the first thing that I saw of Invader Zim. There's horror music, stealing organs, x-ray views of kids like basically would be dying, but it's a cartoon, so they weren't, because it was just funny. Oh, his lungs got replaced with the thing that makes a moo noise. And it's like, wait, that's fatal. I guess cartoon logic. But yeah, that was like, that's Jonan Vasquez for you, right? Right there. And that was like my first impression of Zim, and it was like legitimate, like, wow, this is fucking scary. What's going on? And so I had to watch the rest of the show. It was amazing. The cringe doesn't hit that hard because the art style is super cute and weird. Yeah, it's got the sharp Jonan Vasquez style to it. Yeah. Didn't see it when it aired because it was not shown. Oh yeah, I already read that. Sorry. Okay, what we're doing, we're looking at the nonlinear circuits. Linear circuits. ADSR. I probably should have bought like 2 or 3 of these boards, to be honest. I think I needed more. This is probably the better ADSR, the 2 HP one. So if I can actually get a mastery of what this circuit is, maybe we can make some 2 HP versions of it manually. Based on the Aries 312 envelope generator. I love my nonlinear circuits. I don't know if you guys have seen, but like a lot of the circuits that I end up buying are from nonlinear. And I think the important thing about nonlinear is that the designs are simple, straightforward, and crazy. You know, he's drawing ideas from like professional, older analog kind of synthesizers and just throwing them on a board and saying, here it is, go. Like the one that I have, the Brain Custard is one of the better ones, and it's just literally a neural network that just goes crazy, and it just wiggles voltages around for you, which I love. So nonlinear circuits very much in the philosophy of what I'm building. What I would like to build is just a crazy synthesizer that doesn't follow the rules because it doesn't know the rules. It just does stuff. So we need to check over all of this. And here's the circuit, and of course it's sideways. Can I rotate this? I guess I could take a screenshot and rotate it. Do I have more tools here? Rotate anti-clockwise. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so what do we got here? Circuit analysis-wise, we have a trigger and a gate, which are the stars of the show. It looks like if the trigger is not plugged in, the gate feeds the trigger and the trigger feeds the gate, because that goes in here and that gets the disconnect. That's, which one is the disconnect? This one's the disconnect. That one will be the tip. So yeah, these are what is it called? Normalized. These are normalized. This is hopefully how I built my stereo adapter. I'm not sure if I did. When you unplug one of the plugs, one of the mono plugs in the stereo adapter, it should send it to both channels, right and left. I don't know if I did that. I might have. I hope I did. So anyway, if we don't have one plugged in, then the other is just triggered by whatever comes through. So in that sense, when I was sending it just the gate signal, it should have done stuff. But with that plugged in, it then also needs a trigger. So, I mean, we could test it, but these were heating up. I want to figure out what those are. We'll take a look in just a minute. Is it normal to draw V plus as a triangle? Anything goes in schematics. There's no governing body that encompasses all schematics everywhere, because there can't be. There are common symbols and there are commonalities between symbols. So an arrow pointing upwards often will mean positive power. Best practice is to label it and be consistent with your labels. I use the empty triangle pointing down to point down in Elden Ring. No, the triangle pointing down I like. I think aesthetically it sort of differentiates it from a power source. I like arrow pointing up, not empty triangle. Empty triangle in most places invokes diode in my mind. But nonlinear was good to at least label them as V+. And label, if you have a special thing like a signal flag or even just a box and you label it, that means that everywhere you label it the same, it is also connected. So that's the parlance that the bare minimum of the parlance that I follow. What that symbol is, I could draw a smiley face. You know, it's all valid in love and schematics. So this is not terribly conventional, but it's not illegal. Although it is weird doubling all these together. That's a little weird. I would probably draw them all connected to the same, all the same. But okay, so what's happening here? 100K to ground, 33K through 100 nanofarad. I believe the 100 nanofarad is just simply filtering out DC. So if you've got a DC element to the signal coming in, it'll filter that out. And that'll turn it into a pulse, I think. And then gate is enabling some other piece of the circuit here. It goes directly into Q1 through a 100K and then to Q1 with a 47K to kind of return it back to ground when it's done. And then that is triggering Q1. Q1 is allowing V+, I guess it's, okay, to flow through or not flow through. And we go all the way over to this cluster of diodes. Jeez. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here to do the ADSRing, and it would take a little bit of more concentrated circuit analysis for me to figure out exactly what the ups and the downs, the V pluses and minus are. We can maybe follow along with the circuit, with the multimeter with the scope, and figure out what's going on, because all of that is to simply trigger both the LED circuit and this, I guess, Q10, which is sort of doing a cascade thing. Q8 triggers Q9, triggers Q10. I feel like we've been here before. Have we been here? We've been here before. I think my ADSR has been on the fritz for quite some time. And then being a nonlinear circuit, they don't give us the power supply. What does the power supply look like? Andrew F. 2015, no excuse. We had power supplies back in 2015. I was there. I saw them. They're crazy. There's a bunch of capacitors that aren't being represented on this drawing because they're not. Because Andrew F. doesn't want to draw a power supply with his circuits. By power supply, I just mean like the power input portion of the circuit, which is what I was trying to look at because it's got these 10K resistors on it that are nowhere to be found. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. All right, so we don't have a representation of what that input looks like, which is things that go into V+. All right. So I don't know what all this stuff is supposed to be. I've got the two 10Ks here, and when this plugs in, fits this way with the red stripe down here. Let's take a look at some of the pictures of this thing. Do we have anything that shows us? Oh, that's the series filter. Whoops. Let's do that. Okay. And rotate that 90 degrees. No, I wanted that other view. Okay, plus 12 volts at the top. So we are plugging it in the correct way. That's always something that I want to check. The 10Rs in the past, I would replace those with diodes because it wouldn't include diodes. Is D11 on the schematic? Ah, we have not labeled we have not numbered the diodes on the schematic. This is again one of the things that Andrew F. drives me up the wall about, is not having consistent labeling between your elements. This is hastily designed and it's not done to typical standard. This is the way you should do it right here. Q1, Q1, Q3, Q4. Then I can go, huh, did I install that one correctly? Let me take a look at that one. That one is, or like, how can I troubleshoot if something's wrong with Q7? Well, all I need to do is come back here and reference the schematic and then find, oh, Q7 is this one right here. And that one has the decay effect on it. Which, by the way, I believe we've been through the circuit before. I think I did talk through some of the circuit analysis on this thing before. I don't know why we didn't come to any conclusions on it. And I used to have surface mount devices on this. Now I've got through holes. So something gave. I went out and bought the right parts for it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this. I mean, our 10Ks are getting very hot, but nothing is happening with the rest of the circuit. That's the LED, okay. Is the LED in correctly? Oh. Oh. Well, I think this is a red-green LED. Does this thing go in both? I think it goes from positive to negative, right? Diode to ground, so it only goes positive. So that may be one thing that's wrong with the ADSR, is that my LED is in backwards. I don't think that affects the rest of the circuit, though. Is it, though? Is it, though? Is it in backwards, though? Is it, though? Are you sure? Yeah, I think I see the cut right there. And the flat spot is marked on the other pin for this, so. Ah, the resistors are in backwards. That's true. Rest assured, if you're not checking, it is going in backwards. Do you think Andrew hates us? I think Andrew fears us, and that's why he stays in heaven. This makes the circuit harder to... He's going, as he like makes the circuit difficult to understand. No, I think Andrew is in a rush, and that's why we get what we get out of these things. I'm actually going to leave that screw in so it doesn't disturb my beautiful vinyl. I was hoping that the slate would be a little lighter because I kind of liked my light gray synthesizer with all the PETG stuff, but the slate's fine. It's got a little bit of a depth to it. I just wish this stuff was easier to get working. Because, man, this stuff can be annoying. Oh, wait, this isn't the right one. I'm supposed to be using the other one. I need to like thin the walls of the 10mm socket that I have, because this one I ground it flat so that it would be able to get to these nuts. But, and of course I chamfered the edge pretty aggressively, but what I need is for less material around the peripheral here, because when they put them this close together, it doesn't really fit in. Well, sometimes it fit into that one. That's what having old tools is good for. YouTube is still there, right? They're still alive because we've only got Twitchers. I think I said those curse words and I wonder, 16 views? Holy cats. That's awesome. Yep, it's an upside down. LEDs in backwards. I don't know if this is one of the dual color ones that I put in or if this is just a general LED. We can test that. We can test that. Let's test that. Start saying all these foul jokes. Let us see. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going into diode mode. Typically I hate diode mode. Diode mode is the beeper mode. Diode mode will tell you what the forward voltage of a diode is, and it will beep if it's a short. People use that beep in order to find out if there's continuity in a circuit, and that's not enough information, because it's really, all it's doing is testing diode. I guess there's also dedicated beep mode, but still, what is the threshold on beep mode? When does it beep? Why does it beep? Nobody asks how it beeps. Well, it has a piezoelectric beeper in it. But anyway, it, you know, what's the threshold on that? I'm sure it's in the manual for the thing, but like, if you're just testing a circuit, do, like, you know, testing points around, it's actually better to go to ohm mode. If you can see the screen easily, you know, have it propped up in front of you as I do now, it is more beneficial to have it in ohms mode, because that way, yeah, this is a dual color. So I put a dual color LED on this, which should be fine. This is what diode mode, the best use of diode mode, aside from directly testing a diode, is to light up an LED, because the forward voltage is the minimum amount of voltage that this will use in order to light up itself. Maybe a little bit over that threshold, but still it'll get you just enough illumination out of your diode, and you can tell what the forward voltage is on that. But anyway, so ohms testing mode will tell you if you're actually close to what you're looking for, and there's a resistor in between. If you get like an even 10K, you're like, oh, there's a 10K resistor between these 2 points. Like, it'll give you that little bit of extra information that can tell you what's going on. Or, you know, if your continuity is bad, or if, I don't know, if there's a capacitor in the line, you can see the voltage charging up and down. Much more useful. So anyway, our diode is not in backwards, it's universal. We should be getting something like a red or green light out of this thing. The fact that it works in both directions is probably neither here nor there. I don't think... it might not illuminate this in the opposite direction, because it wouldn't be going from... Well, if it's going from ground, I think it does actually go both ways, because it's going from ground to V+. It's being triggered to V+, and I guess you may not, no, we may not get V- on there at all, so never mind. Yeah, so it's only going to be going in one direction, so you're gonna get one color out of this thing. So then, what are not happen? Because we definitely don't get the LEDs to turn on, but we do get quite a bit of heat in those two current regulating resistors, which are supposedly 10Ks, but I don't really have a circuit to look at this thing. So I guess what we're immediately doing when, okay, let's trace this out a little bit. We'll trace this out and we can see if we can poke it with the oscilloscope anywhere to give us an impression of what's going on. Positive 12, okay, I need a pointer. I need a pointer. This thing is covered in flux, but positive 12 volts coming in here. Double check, double check, double check, double check. Stripe down there. That's negative 12, positive 12. And all the grounds in between. Okay, so negative and positive 12 are present. Plus 12 goes to this 10K, which gets really, really hot. That 10K. Minus 12, I'm assuming, comes to here and grounds down the middle. Negative band on the capacitor, negative band on the capacitor. These are 50 volts, so if they get that full 24, they're not going to blow up. So we've got positive 12 here, negative 12 here, ground. We'll test that in a minute. I need a picture of the circuit board more than anything else. All right, so the first thing we go to is 104. So 10 with 4 zeros after it. What is that? A 1UF or is it 0.1? Just the decoupling. This is just a high frequency, low frequency kind of thing, filtering things. Can't wait for when they invent the voltage camera. I mean, that's just the thermal camera, kind of. Kind of. 2202, 10K, 1K. I'm trying to see. I guess it just gets distributed from there. Because it's kind of hard to, the circuit gets a little difficult to follow after that. It'd be nice if I could load this into a CAD program. But I mean, like, okay, so overall, the look of this thing, everything seems to be installed properly. I don't think I got any of my transistors messed up. They're all facing the right direction. This is like basic circuit troubleshooting, is you just come in here and you look at all the directionality things, make sure your bands are on the right size. Beyond that would maybe be a destroyed transistor, making sure all the solder looks okay. There's not a ton going on with this. 1M, is that 1M? No, 1M, 100K. Those are A too, A1M. 1M, 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 100K. Yeah, those are all 1M, okay. And they're alphas, so they're super nice. Need a really sensitive thermal camera with a huge dynamic range. Yeah, voltage is heat. That would be kind of neat. There are some RF things too where you can wave a little probe over top of the board and it'll kind of suss out what's going on. It's kind of cool. You can pick up on internal oscillators and stuff. That's in the right direction. That's in the right direction. We got a lot of flow control diodes that are being deployed here. That is technically soldered. It looks a little weird. What I'm looking for is that little matte spot on the diode to tell me what direction it's supposed to be installed in. This is the frustrating part about this ADSR, is that there's nothing wrong with it. That looks a little cold weldy, but I don't think it is. I'll just drop a little solder on that. Yeah, okay. Just drop a little dollop of solder. That robot vacuum is going to be a lot to fix. There's a lot that needs to be done on that. I think mostly, though, it'll just be checking over the voltages so that we know that the system is there. Because, like, oh boy, it's just motor control. I mean, it's a simple system, but it consists of a lot of crazy things. The GPS is a pretty nice GPS and everything. We got to make sure all that stuff works. It's going to be daunting. I think we can get through it, though. I think we can get through it. Help get my friend's silly little... It has a name, and it has a little cowboy hat that it wears. It's got its own little cowboy hat. All right, so I mean, I guess the other thing is to check if the P's and the N's all line up, but I think they do. I don't know why this thing doesn't work. Honestly, guys, I don't know. What's going on over there? There's like no... Can you guys hear like a buzz on the mic? You probably can, as I'm touching metal stuff. I gotta get myself separated from the table here. Need to steal from the biologist cookbook. We need some traces with phosphorescent chemicals that only activate when there's current. Oh man, that would be cool if those worked like that, but you need high voltage for any phosphorescent chemicals like that. No, that's an LED. I guess that is an LED. True, we could put LEDs on our different traces to light up. True. Maybe you don't need high voltage for that. The high voltage is when you trigger the phosphorescent material with photons. That's night vision. That's mind bullets. Yeah, LEDs are phosphors. Well, they're triggered by ultraviolet is really what those phosphors are in LEDs. That's what a lot of things are. Isn't that from Anarchist Cookbook? That's Bananadyne you're thinking of. I'm remiss. I'm not finding anything wrong with this board. Let's check our P's and our N's, and then we'll start poking it with voltages. So BC547, which are British. BCs are British, so I had to buy a kit of them. And BC557. 547 and 557. So BC 547. And we can probably just get this off of the build log. Let's look at it sideways. Let's go look at it sideways. Let's go BC 547 marked N. So 547 is the N channel, 557 is the P channel. They are marked N and P. N und P. Oh, und PP. Okay, so that one is marked O. It's like a G. What? Oh, it's a okay. It's a P. It was looking at sideways. So these two are 557. 557's P. 557's a P. 557. 557. PP. Okay, blah, 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 blah. That one is marked P. What are you? Come on. I just got to get the light to hit it just right. That one's a 557. That one is P. This is supposed to be 557. This one is elusive. Where is your angle? Where's your angle, buddy? Come on. All right, let me use a flashlight on this then. What up, Madam U? How's it going? I got a lot of friendos over there on the YouTubes. 557, also P. These two are N channels. So they should be, okay, where are we? We're over here. So these should be 547, not 57. 2 4/7s hanging out in a hot tub, 6 feet apart. That one is N channel, 4/7. That one is R channel or N channel, so that's also 4/7. This one is unidentifiably N channel. Yeah, that's an N channel. I see a gap. That's 547, correct. And these guys up here, P channel. What the? 557? What was late? Oh, ad break. Ad break. So P channel, 557, N channel, 547. All the transistors are correct. They're all correct. Four seven R channel, N channel. Yeah, that's correct. Huh. Why do you not work? Ooh, that's ugly. That's really ugly right there. All right, we're gonna wait for the ad break to stop. I've got a light here that tells me when an ad break is running, and I think what we're gonna do tomorrow is I would like to do just like a gimmick stream where we hook, and we're going to do this next. I want to figure out this ADSR first, because this ADSR is the key to making meow noises from the synthesizer. I want to try that thing that what's their face on YouTube posted, which was a little tutorial about how to make meowing noises with your audio workstation. We need something that can compress the ADSR, so that might be Crimes and Ornamentation. It might not be this. But it would be funny if we were able to get my synthesizer hooked up. Meow, 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 meow. That would be great. Anyway, so YouTubers, you guys are here. Any refugees from Twitch avoiding ads over on YouTube. I'm trying not to talk about anything too Project D while we wait for ads to expire, because part of our audience is now being locked behind consumerism, which is something that I don't necessarily enjoy. But anyway, what I'm trying to do right now is fix the ADSR, because tomorrow I would like to do a session with my own modular synthesizer. So this is the equivalent of me kicking the flight instructor out and then landing the plane myself. Basically what I'd like to do is jump into the deep end, and what I'll do is a 1 hour session or 45 minutes, however long between the 3-minute ads. Whatever time exists between the 3-minute ads, I have to set up the synthesizer and get something going, get something cool sounding, whatever. When that time expires, I am going to turn off power to the synthesizer during an ad. So the ad starts, power down. I have to unplug everything, start over. Start from scratch, figure it out. So that's the idea. I want to do that tomorrow. I might incorporate the keyboard and some other things, but I've already explained this to everybody. I'm explaining it again just because it eats up a little bit of time during these like ad breaks. We've got everybody coming back now. Everybody coming back, so don't tell them what we were talking about. No, I'm just kidding. We were talking about the tomorrow's setup with the power down and stuff. So we need to figure out what's going on with this circuit, and I have absolutely no clue. So I think the first thing to do is to check power. And so frustratingly, Andrew F. of Nonlinear Circuits has decided to not show us the power supply. Sorry, his dog barking in the background. We've gone over a bunch of the solder connections. I don't see heat building anywhere that it's not supposed to be, except for in those two 10K ohm resistors. In other nonlinear circuits modules, what I've done is instead of installing those initial like current limiting 10Ks, why weird hairs just showing up everywhere? Instead of installing the initial current limiting 10, these are 10 ohm. Jeez. I'm not installing those. Instead, I put a Schottky diode in there, and that keeps this from plugging in backwards. So the typical power supply on a nonlinear is that you've got these 10 ohms going into V plus and V minus, and then you've got your big 10 ohm or 10 microfarad capacitor, 10 oof. And then it goes off to everything else. So debatably, I may want to replace these two 10, that one says 10K. That one's 10R. So that's a little weird. The one coming from positive goes through 10K. Is that a misprint? Because that one's 10R. This one's somehow 10K. And then that goes into the rest of the circuit. I feel like that might be a misprint. Maybe that's what's going on, is our 10K is limiting, but this thing shouldn't be using a lot of current. I mean, we're just doing a bunch of very basic BC547 switching. 101 is the right value. Okay, I'm just looking around right now. I'm just seeing if anything seems awry. Those heating up might just be part and parcel of the operation of the circuit too. There might not be anything too suspicious about that. 10 micro, but then it's 10R and 10K, whereas on another similar circuit, 10R, 10R, I think the 10K is just for the potentiometer, just to scale it, but then 10R, 10R. That may be the first thing that's wrong. Let's double check it. I don't think there's like, they don't really have any footnotes on this thing. Let's open it up the right way. That's not the right one. Oh, look at that, 10R, 10R. Am I misreading? I must have misread. Okay, that might actually, oh boy, that might be our problem. This is good. This is one of those things where it's like, oh, you found a problem, but no, it's like, oh, I found a problem, sweet. Awesome. That might be what's wrong with it. Because everything else is looking good. So what we need to do is we need to desolder this one. So I can heat up these two pads and maybe it'll pull off. I don't want to heat the pads on the other side because they're right next to the plug, and the plug's going to melt if I get too close. Congrats on your problem. Yeah, that's what I tell my friends when they have babies. Tweezers, yeah. Oh, I'm putting my flashlight away before it gets damaged. Trying to negotiate this. Hold on. I'm negotiating. I'm negotiating. I'm negotiated. Okay. Man, we got fewer viewers with ads on, huh? Maybe we go back to pre-roll. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this from underneath. You guys getting as pissed with the ads as I normally am? Probably. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do this from the other side of the board. Let's hope that I can really get in there, because that's too much. Getting a surface mount part off when I'm holding the whole board up. Does this get wide enough? I think it does for this size. Just barely, wow. And these nonlinear circuits are not a standard Euro size. They're just a little bit more narrow, just a little bit more short. Okay, so I got to get in here without melting everything, including these wires. That's a big ask. Maybe we can heat the other side of the resistor through the one side. I'm going to take both of these because this I thought was a K, and apparently it's an R. They're very similar letters, which is why that whole system is dumb. You shouldn't put values down here. I should be going off of a bill of materials. Try to stay far away from that plastic, and I just melted a bunch of the plastic. All right, well, whatever. Now 103 is a lot of resistance, so it may not heat the other side as readily as I would like. Maybe I could come in here. That's going to melt the whole side of the connector if I'm not careful. There we go. And you're gone. Oh, it's gone already. There. So I guess that's an R. I just can't see it. It was cut off by the silk screen, or by the pad. Get rid of that one. We're not putting either of these in. I'm replacing this with diodes so that we have reverse protection. We don't have current protection. We've got reverse protection. Without current protection, hey, maybe it'll blow up. That would be really exciting. Probably should install them on the other side. All right, so I got a whole bin full of these things. Release the magic smoke. That was a magic plastic smoke. That's a different brand of smoke entirely. Actually, don't really want those. I want shotkeys. I have none. The 1N5819, I think, is the one that I keep using, just because it's what I have like a ton of. You know, buy parts in bulk. So methinks the problem with this whole circuit was that I put too much of a current limiting resistor on the power supply. What business does that have being in line with the power supply anyway? It is current limiting. It's like what it does with an LED. So if you put a 10K on there, that's limiting a huge amount of current. So probably not enough for it to function. Instead of limiting current, what I'm going to do is keep it from getting plugged in backwards. I don't know what that'll do to the outset of everything else, but I don't think this circuit is super duper duper sensitive enough to like not utilize a little bit more power. So which one is coming from where? Well, this one goes to plus, so this one's plus V. And plus V, we basically want the arrow to be pointing in the direction that current flows. Current is flowing from the plug into the plus, and so that means that our arrow pointing towards the line is going towards the capacitor. So this line is towards the capacitor, this line is towards the connector because voltage is flowing out from negative, in from positive, out from negative, which is the opposite of how the electrons travel, but Ben Franklin couldn't be asked to get it right in between his sessions in Paris, so he made the whole standard backwards. He's a real forefather of America because he had so many illegitimate children. I always love the meme is like, what would the founding fathers think of the modern day? Like, oh, Ben Franklin with this and that and the other. No, Ben Franklin was just gooned to Pornhub all day. All right, so this one goes this way. Yoink. I would love for my audience to get large enough that I don't have to care about not cursing and stuff. Talking about weird stuff. I think about plenty of weird stuff, but I have to self-censor because otherwise nobody will watch my show. My Twitch views are real bad today. I don't know what's going on. There's probably other stuff going on. There's more interesting people streaming. All right, did we do that right? Yes, our line goes towards the connector, and our line over there goes towards the rest of the circuit. Would he admit he's wrong or be prideful and defend himself? You know, thing is, nowadays we have the tools to completely humble somebody like that with facts and logic. But yeah, he probably wouldn't. Probably get a big old dose of "Who the hell are you?" This is right because it's got ghosts in it. All right, so plug this in and see where the heat is again. Oh yeah, we unplugged the power plug. The plug thing. Yeah, man, I am quoting Zim a lot in my day-to-day. Apparently I've got most of it memorized. There's a surprise to myself. All right, don't blow up, don't blow up, don't blow up. Weird spikes in current draw. Why is it? What's going on here? Uh-oh. Yep. Okay. We shorted. Why do we short? Bruce, why do we short? So we can get back up again. First thing this thing did was take out my whole test setup, and then it started bouncing because it detected a short. And then when we plugged it back in, we saw spiked positive V. Yeah, look, if I could have a word with the founding fathers, I would have them rewrite some stuff in very plain English. Huh. Okay, no, that's positive. Yeah, this is positive. Positive comes down to the far one. And it goes in this direction. Negative comes down to this, or comes back to this one, and goes in that direction. So those are wired correctly. So something down the line is causing this thing to just go, and then die. I think they thought of it like pressure. That's the analogy that everybody uses, but I don't know. I don't know enough about my electrical history to know how they were thinking of how, you know, the voltages were traveling around boards. And for the most part, I mean, thinking of positive voltage as the source of the blah, 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 all that's been pretty good. We've been pretty accurate with that. Benjamin Franklin would be completely bugging by today's science. I mean, he invented an instrument where you have, instead of running your finger around the rim of a glass, you just have glass and water and you just put it on, like, pretty simple stuff. So, like, you know, if you show him a GPS, he'd probably bug out a little bit, yeah. Thank you for Pseudomaze for the 22 months. 22 months, Pseudomaze. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right, what the hell is happening to my circuit here? We've checked the diodes. The diodes look okay. Maybe we need to look at some of these transistors and see if they're functioning in the right direction. This thing has no business drawing the amount of current that it drew. No business. So 2U2, 2.2 microfarad, that's 50 volts. So that should be fine, 2.2 U. So one of the early tests on your circuit before you should chuck power into it, because I do things that you shouldn't do on this stream, and I'd like to point out when I do things you shouldn't do. Powering it up with no protection is bad. When you build a circuit like this, the first thing you should do is use a benchtop power supply, limit the amount of the current that power supply is able to provide, which is a base feature of all of these benchtop power supplies. Take it down to very, very small amounts, like 100 milliamps. Plug it in, power it up, but not with enough volts. Start low on the voltage scale and sneak it up. Maybe a volt at a time, maybe half a volt at a time. As you're sneaking it up to be powered on, you can observe if there's any bad behavior. For instance, a short right in the middle of powering up. So maybe I should have done that here, but the way I do things is you punch it with all the power at once, because if something blows up, it's funny. We all go, ha ha. I pick the adrenaline off of the floor that I undoubtedly pissed out, and then everybody gets to have a laugh. So I'm going to go to ohms. Go to ohms. And we'll try our power input betwixt negative V and ground. That is charging up in kilo ohms. So we've got a big capacitor on there, and the wimpy little amount of current this thing uses to observe the line is being used to charge the capacitor. So from ground to positive 12, 10K. 10K? Where are you 10K'ing from? Why is it 10K? Willow is taken to barking at everything that moves outside, so beware, anything that moves, you are being observed by my dog. She's barking a lot. What is it? Four Seasons Total Landscaping, the Double Tree Hotel replacement, is out there doing their due diligence to make the neighborhood look good. The very same from the political gaff. Very, very same. It's one of my favorite things. I have a bunch of stickers from them too now. So I replaced those with diodes that presumably would be protecting, and somehow we get 10K. Let me do a diode test across the diodes. Why not? Let's just check. I don't think I've never had one of these diodes be bad, but just in case. In this direction. Oh, hello. Wait a minute. Oh, you know what? It would be like this. It would be like this. Ground is positive and up is down, and 0.2, that's a Shocky. So then this one, nothing. Reverse it. Backflip it and reverse it. Reverse it. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so those both work. We can pick up some ground taps. Well, just following positive too. From plus V to minus V, we get overload. That's good. That's charging my lasers. You can sometimes get negative ohms too if you have a charged capacitor and you jump in on it the opposite direction. I'm assuming, well, those aren't necessarily connected to ground. All right, let's get on the microscope and get close in here, take a look. So I don't know, my running theory right now is one of these transistors is broken, and so it's shorting us to ground somehow. That's what that 10K is. Unless there's 100K to ground coming in on the trigger pin. Looking over here, we've got two 1Ks that come from the outs, and those go over to Q10, which is between positive and a diode and an earlier part of the circuit. That's a weird one. Okay, so we got to start getting into this. Transistant, yeah. It's not a not, just an isn't. It's not a not. All right, ADSR 312, you sit over there, screwdriver and other tools, including the pointer that I might need, and I'm gonna make room for me, which there just plain isn't. This goes up there. Jeez, get out of my way. I should have cleaned up. But I didn't. I didn't clean up, and now I have to live with it. Watts down. Can't park there. Can't park there, mate. Personally, I blame Randy and Bill. I think I did actually. I think I drilled that. I should probably do that to the other nonlinear that I have because it's got the same sort of layout where you've got 4 controls sitting at the top, but these aren't traditional pots because I think the other types of alphas are too fancy to go into something like this. These are too fancy. What's up, really? What's up, Will Real? There we go. I got it. I finally got it. Sorry, my brain is full of mush today. These are too expensive for nice synthesizers, and the nonlinear circuits are a bunch of transistors. So I used these little plastic doodads, and these don't screw into anything. So I actually drilled a hole and made my own stand. What is this? Wait, what was that? What is that? I think it's part of the plastic. Oh, that's a piece of vinyl coating that I used for the front panel. All right, so what the hell's wrong with this thing? I don't know. Randy and Bill send their hole. Oh, geez. It does say love, but that's much, much funnier. All right. What's going on? How you doing? It's your boy. Power comes in, goes in here, and then it completely shorts out. Regardless of, I mean, you know, if there were 2 10 ohm resistors there, that wouldn't make much of a difference. It would still, something is still shorting positive to ground and taking out all the other devices on this chain of devices on my little tester. So I have an inkling that maybe one of the transistors is bad. So we check transistors by treating them like diodes, because just like LEDs, we have diodes which are 2 pieces of silicon that are doped as P and N, and negative and positive doping, P and N. When you dope a transistor, that's not like, you know, the good kind of dope. You're basically putting another like substance in there with the crystal. What that does is that either promotes holes or positive electrons. And if you have a bunch of positive electrons and a bunch of holes, there's a boundary condition between those two. I'm not going to go into that. You can just know that it's electrical charges. If you've got a big electrical charge sitting on one end of your diode, the boundary is going to expand to the point where the diode's going to let all of these electrons and holes interact with each other, such as to allow all the current to go by. Thank you. It's everything I own in this life is in this room. I appreciate it. The shop is kind of like my co-host. We've put a lot into it, and it's, by the way, it's always a slow burn. We get the question quite often, you know, how do I start out with this stuff? How do I get a shop like yours? And it's like, it's not going to be like mine. It's going to be like yours, because you have to build it over time. This is the culmination of years and years of not having enough space for everything. One day I can maybe move this into a larger room. So a transistor, if you add a third element to this, an N, a P, an N, or a P, an N, and a P, then you are able to build the boundary condition in the center and have things flow from one end to the other. When you get into FETs and stuff, it's moving the boundaries around and making them a little bit different. Decades of targeted hoarding. I throw stuff out all the time, but you're right. You can only say you have a shop when you have no space, and a shop will always grow to fill the space. Goldfish rules, baby. Yeah, it's true. It's not hoarding. I want all of this stuff. No, I don't want all this stuff. I actually need to get rid of a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of like dregs, things that I've tried in other projects that kind of just like choke me. I really should not have said that. So orphaned from everything else I was saying. Somebody's going to clip that and it'll just be a quick little soundbite. So the way that we test a transistor, because of the mechanical differences between the transistor and a diode, boop, we test them like diodes. It's like 2 diodes stapled together, because literally that's what it is. Oh, we're in an ad. Hold on. No, we're not. That was 100 bims. I didn't know you were into that 100 bits. You guys aren't allowed to know. Get OL'd. Oops. Where are we going? There we go. All right, so base collector emitter, I can't be asked to learn which one's which, but I believe all of the bases, the control pins, are in the center of this type of thing. So if I put this between them, 703, oh, well, wait a minute. .7 volts is your typical voltage drop of a diode. These, I believe I'm using shotkeys, so they're a little less than 0.7. So if I selectively, what in the hell is this? Why is there hair? What is this, asbestos? What's going on? Ugh. It's just flux flaking off. Asbestos. All right, that one seems to be good. I mean, it's giving me all the indicators that it's fine. We just got to go through and test these and make sure that they're giving me 0.7s. .7. Flip my leads. .7. Some of these are going to get hard to get to. No, continuity. We're looking for something that's going to give us continuity because that means that it's broken. And so if we get a steady beep, that may be our source of short. But it might also just mean that I'm not on the leads properly. Yep, 0.7, there we go. And go over to the other side. Huh? 2. 2 is not number. 2? What are you doing? Did you charge a capacitor when I wasn't looking? You charged a capacitor, didn't you? Is this asbestos? Nope, not asbestos. Doesn't taste like it. I know it's not asbestos because I built the damn circuit. I know what's what here. I know what is what I don't know what is what. I just strut. I don't know. I'm getting suspicious of this one, but I don't really have any reason to believe anything's wrong, other than the fact that my probe's stuck in there for some reason. What are happening here? It's when you deal with a lot of old electronics, it's always really suspicious what you find. You're like, what horrible substance is this? And it turns out, why is that 2 volts? I'm questioning Q9. I'm gonna mark up Q9. Hold on. We'll just do a notepad thing for now. Whoops. Snip tool. Oh, there it is. And then MS Paint. Q, where are you at? Q9 is over here. So let's circle that one. And Q9 is the one we're going to look at. $2 volts, question mark. Okay. Now they're only single entendres around here. We don't have the mental capacity for doubles. Yeah, this one's just a little bit weird. I don't know why that's 2 volts to get through that. It really shouldn't be. See, about 0.6 to 0.7 volt. And then this one's not going to do anything in this direction. But if I take it from the other side, .7, so normal diode stuff. But this one acted up. So I may need to go investigate that one and maybe replace it. 0.7, and go to the other side. I gotta reverse the polarity to test the other one, so I just flip it. Flip it and reverse it. Never shouted. Everybody has their own little version of that backwards lyric. Can't exactly reverse your voice. So you sing it the way you hear it. No. I would hope that I'd find one that was like that. Oh, did I not reverse correctly? No, that's fine. I just saw 0.7 in there. Okay. We're still just hunting. We're just hunting a bad transistor. That's really all it could be. This is such a simple circuit, right? 0.7, 0.6, almost 0.7. You probably should go this way, right? 0.7, 0.7. Ah, it slipped and got it. Okay. They're cheap, but I think they're adequate transistors. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. .7 over here. Come on. 0.7-ish. Ish. It's. That song has been ruined for everyone trying to do a marching song. I'm going to put on some marching band music. It's like, oh, that's Monty Python. No, it's not. It was a song before that, but they are so famous that they're kind of excused for taking it over. They just used it because it was rights free. Nope. Those are, so far, everybody is healthy. Tell me it's a healthy baby. But did you know that... Wow! Sorry, that was the Wario version of Kiss from a Rose. When it snows, my eyes become large and... Okay, that's fine. The light that you shine can be seen. Baby! Okay, that's enough. This one is questionable, but it's the only questionable one. If I replace Q9, will the whole circuit fix itself? I don't think that's how that's going to work. That is a little questionable. It is soldered. It's just like weird. That's totally fine if it's weird. Our power supply will not go to full current because Q9 could potentially be doing something. Q9 is over here. Okay, this MS Paint is not the best program for showing these things. Let's circle that a little better. I need a larger pen for that. Q9 is right here, and it's pulling this down through 22K to V minus. When I diode test on 2 of the terminals, I'm getting 2 point something or other volts, which is more voltage than the 0.7 that we expect. Is that detrimental to the operation? I mean, V plus through Q11 and D, no, that goes back to the other one. That's for adding power to the other thing over there. And if Q9 pulls this down, then it's pulling down through a 470K. So we got 470K, Q9, 22K from positive to negative. It appears like our V is shorting the ground, but it shouldn't be able to get anywhere from here. I'm almost inclined to just like plug it in and see what heats up, because it might be the 470K. Let's check the 470K. I have suspicions. Put that on ohms. And then here, let's do. And then the 470K is this one right here. What the? Yeah, no, cat. How's it going? 28 months. That's insane. 466K. So that's fine. but this one still reads 2 volts. So maybe we just pull this out and put a new one in. I just don't, well, if it is shorting through Q9 and the problem that we saw with the transistor means, actually, wait, what about from here to here? Q9 here to over here. Seven mega ohms. What do these do? 400K. So between these two terminals in this direction, we got mega ohms, which means not a lot of currents getting through that. Try the other direction. I compare you to a kiss from a rose. Vine Sauce's Vinny played this slurmcore, where you take a song into Ableton and you speed it way up, but then you pitch it way down. And so now in my brain, as it goes through the song that I know very well, it's slurmcoring it without my consent. I compare you to a kiss from a rose. It's dumb. it's very dumb. I posted a song, if you're curious, in the music section of the Discord. Great 3/4 song. Ooh, more. Okay, stop it. Stop it. Shut up. Shut your noise hole. I don't know, man. Like, so the diodes being like over voltage to get through doesn't strike me as like a show-stopping error. Let's get Q9 out of there. We can get it out pretty easily. I can just heat up those 3 pads and we can get it out of here. Who's loud as that chumbo? I'll be singing when I get knocked down. I get up again. Yeah, that's his music for that. But that's not slurmcore. There is actually, I think it was published recently, a slurmcore Chumbawamba. Am I right about that? I don't know if I'm right about that. Yes, sped up a little bit. I can't hear the original without thinking it's too slow. I get knocked down. I love how freely that played around here, and it turns out it's actually like a political campaign song. The Americans are like, what? What are you talking about? It's just that silly song with a weird name. They just play it on the radio. That was back when, well, I guess Clear Channels has that happening here anyway, where you hear the same song 5,000 times. 5,000 times. I've gone to just listening to the local like news channels. Okay, what I'm trying to do is get the hook onto the transistor and then heat up all of the pins to get it out. You can also clip the leads on these to get them out. I would like to actually get this out, though. Tub thumping is a political not associated with any campaign. But I get knocked down, but I get up again? That's like the anecdote that everybody says. Huh, maybe somebody just used it. Because that was supposed to be the whole I get knocked down part. Like, yeah, we're still in this race. I mean, pissing the night away is just partying, so I guess I believe it. Maybe I'm thinking of another song. Tub thumping was making fun of stupid jocks. Crass was political. Okay, I'm not alone. I'm being gaslit by my own. You're crazy, Bother. That wasn't a political song. I'm pretty sure, like, anecdotally, everybody was calling it political at some point. Far be it for me to accuse the internet of not being correct about all things at all times. Why isn't this moving at all? Soldering iron's on? My big soldering iron tip bit the big weenie in the sky. Unfortunately, that one, it pieced out on me. I'm heating the wrong pads, I think. I'll get knocked down. Oh, you give me down. If I get knocked down, I typically will get up again. Maybe I was heating the wrong pads. Is this your card? Ah, hand cramp. Hand cramp and then body cramp. What the hell's going on? Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Why am I a being that exists entirely out of cramps? Where's my blood glucose level thing? Oh, you know what? It's supposed to be in a different one, but yeah, there's the good looking one. Okay, so we're totally fine. For some reason, I'm just pumped full of lactic acid. Wait. Why does it stop there? Oh, there's no prediction on the... Yeah, it's not doing predictions. Cramp Man. Curls into action. Yeah, 120. Okay, that's correct. Tub thumping is a vociferous supporter. What? Huh? Oh, that's what the meaning of the word? Or the term? The world is confusing and weird. Let's work on circuits. We have one suspect in this, but that's Q9. It's this one right here. I seem to not be like hitting the right pads to get it out. It's these three, and for some reason they're just not giving me the part. I think there's like an excess of solder on them. I could do a little bit of it is the term tub thumbing. Weird. You could just get that excess of solder off of these three. That might help us out a little bit. I need to do like a $60 order of iron tips to keep myself going here. This is just to remove the bulk of the solder. Bible thumping is the same way as tub thumping, but they're in bathtubs. I see. That makes perfect sense to me now. See, the problem with desoldering like this is that the surface tension of the solder will keep a little bridge between the pin and the via. And that little bridge is enough to keep you from being able to extract the part. I think I've removed most of it on that side. It's possible that I could wiggle this thing free, although I really don't want to take a pad up with me. That is absolutely locked in. The other thing you can do with transistors is if you have enough room, you can just wiggle them back and forth until the leads pop off. Because remember, we're using really terrible metal to put all these electronics together from the factory. From the terrible metal factory. Well, this one's been kind of a beast to get out. I'm just going to cut the leads. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. My patience has run out. That means I can't put this in the transistor tester. It would be nice, and I know they're not really obligated to, but if we got some kind of an idea of what voltages should be inside of these units. There's no obligation for them to do that, though. It'd just be nice so that we could do testing on this level. Now I've got pins in there, so I got to get those out. Who the hell is that? Is that Ringo? What is this? B-sides. Dan Ramon. I see. Old radio manuals? Yeah, it's so super useful when you've got a niche issue going on in your unit. Unfortunately for us, though, they're not obligated to do that, and they haven't. So that's fine. It's totally fine. But boy, would it be useful. That's going to move as soon as I touch it. And I got to be careful because these are plastic potentiometers. If they touch the iron, it's game over. Because then they'll be all rough and gross. All right, now tweezers aren't going to totally get in there. These are kind of difficult to extract. The middle pin came out nice and clean, but I guess the top part here has been distorted by the flush cutters. So I think what I can do is get in like this and coax it out. There's a little splinter. See, when the flush cutters cut stuff, they are distorting that metal somewhat before it actually shears off, and that's going to make it difficult to pass back through the via. So I want to pull from the same direction that I cut. I'm going to get the solder off of those pins, and then we're going to plug it back into power and see if everything is good. And then we'll find a replacement transistor. Heathkit was amazing with the documentation. If you've got a lot of dumb people soldering your boards and like testing them and stuff, you really need something that can help you point the finger back at them for being dumb and not building it correctly. So I would assume that Heathkit's had a huge incentive to give you all of that information, all that wonderful blame shifting information that'll keep you from getting accusations of making things that don't work in the first place. I kind of, that level I've been at before, where every single time something went wrong with the fire cannon setup, I was the fault. They said, you didn't do this properly. It's not working right now. I had nothing to do with it. And I said, you're on MIDI channel 2. It works on MIDI channel 0. That happened again and again and again. And again and again and again. Okay, so without the questionable transistor in here, oh, hold on. Maybe, just maybe, this thing won't be a total mess. Yeah, Heath kits were cool. Used to be able to build stuff like a whole TV with those kits. Shame we don't have that anymore, but I guess electronics have gone in such a direction that, you know, you're not going to get any level of design out of a home-built kit. But we still have modular synthesizers, and those have kits, and look at all the fun we're having. Yeah, I twitch. I can't believe this is taking the whole time. Oh, we've got an ad break in 1 minute. 1 minute till ad break. Prepare for ad breaking. Hold on, let's turn this on, and then we'll blow it up. Still killed it. Why are killing? Why are you getting killed by this? What's heating up? Something is shorting right after my diodes. Why are my diodes getting so hot? That was extremely warm. It was lit right the F up. Get ready to duck for cover. Everything recovered. The power supply units that I put in this thing, these guys over here, these are really, really nice. What? Whoa. Why are you so warm? I guess the USB-C plug is taking the other brunt of that onslaught of voltage input, because that thing is powered up at 15 volts. But the power supply units themselves have nice electronics on them, and they've got like safety things that you know, click into action. The whole copper line, yeah. Everybody got a little heated. It was a little bit of a heated exchange. So what in the ever-loving F is going on with this thing? Why are we immediately shorting out? That really shouldn't be happening with this. And if we removed the transistor that gave us a weird voltage rating, it didn't do anything. So we need to kind of go down the line and just figure out what the F is going on here. Ad break. Ad break. Ad break. Ad break. Ad break. Ad break. I'm still here. Entertain me. That's what I'm trying to do. What do you think all of this has been in service of? What do you think I'm trying to do here? Oops, I So we checked the direction of our diodes. They're correct. They're in the right direction. If I go all the way from the pin from positive 12 down to here, 9 kilo ohms, it should actually be in diode mode if we're doing that. Diode mode, positive, negative, 0.2 volts. It's a Schottky diode. From negative to more negative. I had to flip the leads. Negative to more negative. Point 0.2. So another Schottky. That's all in line. That's actually how it should work. We're all good on that circuit flow direction. See, there's a line there, and a line there. Those are all correct, and they're all soldered in correctly. So the next stop on our little fantastic cruise, how many ohms between you two? I'm really gunning those things. Rear. Yeah, so we're charging up the ohms. 1.2 ohms seems like a little, from V minus or V plus to ground, seems a little hasty. Could it be these capacitors that are betray me? Four ohms. I mean, the thing is, like, could there be a short? That should be 2 ohms, that's fine. Capacitor, consider this to be your final warning. Why am I getting cramps? Why is diabetes like this? Are we back? We're back, but my ideal light has not gone away. What's going on with that? Okay, there it goes. Cool. All right, so that's mostly in coordination with it. Might be a little bit of a delay. So we're checking continuity because I just got a very low ohms between ground and my positive pin. If I go to the positive pin here and I go to ground, that's actually negative. But I'm getting 16 to 18 ohms, that's no bueno. If I go to V plus, 8 kilo ohms, that's very low. Why would there be a short? What would be shorting out? What could possibly have gone wrong? We removed what we thought was the problem transistor because we were getting weird power between the two pins. I don't really see any other sources of like a mechanical short. These look pretty clear and there's not like big drippies coming off of them. What in the hell? There's just a lot of flux on the board. It just acts weird when I mess with it. One of the concerns is that these surface mount caps are shorting against something, but the silk screen is pretty aggressive in this area. And there's no like vias. In isolation, but they're not in isolation. These are in circuit. So the amount of resistance between the legs of the transistors can vary pretty widely. Hollow Knight silk screen. I don't know, chat. I'm running out of ideas here because if it is those two caps, I mean, that would explain an early short, but these really, I've used these in a bunch of other linear, non-linear circuits. And in terms of like sources of things that could short out, we don't have too many areas where, because this is like basic through-hole electronics, there's not a whole lot that I think could go severely wrong in this. Well, there's a There's a shorted cap. That's not really going to do. We're all the way down here. I don't think that's going to do it. Unless that cap goes from positive to ground. I wonder. Let's check. Is that really it? It was something that I could have noticed this entire time. Jeez. Let's try it. Let's try it. That could have been it. Oops. Do 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 do. Oh yeah, I've unplugged it. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay. Holy shit, that was it. That was it. That little piece of, if you guys didn't catch it, it happened very quickly. That right there had a little bit of solder wipe on it. And that was connecting ground to whatever the hell's going on over here. Well, we need to find another N-channel transistor, a BC547. BC547, yeah. That's the N channel, which I have. Can you believe it? That was it. Whole circuit, just on that. So let me find my kit of transistors. Boy, that lawnmower thing is going to be a trip. It's going to be like what we were just doing, only on a digital board, which is just a little bit different. It'll be fun though, I assure you. All right, BC547, where are you? Looking through my parts right now. You guys can kind of see that. You can see that that's what I was doing. You know what I was doing. You can see with your eyes. Okay, hold on. Somewhere in here, there's a kit of BC transistors. I bought it specifically for this module and to just have them around because they're called out a lot in the electronics, the musical electronics. Because I guess it's a bunch of Brits designing these things. They like to use their homegrown parts, their own part numbers from their own gardens and stuff. Heck are you? Oh. Tantalums. I didn't even know I had that. Tantalums you're not really going to find all that often. They pack a punch. They're very small, but they're very sensitive. Very sensitive to their voltage ranges. So they can kind of leave you high and dry if you use them and they blow up. Somewhere in here, I have a kit of BCs. Where are you? And it's in one of these clear plastic bins. The problem is when you start stacking these, you get smaller and smaller bins, and then you can't find. You don't have anywhere to put the stacks, and it all comes crashing down. Oh, those are all my rivets. No. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, here they are. 5, 4, 7. All right, put that one in. I bought the whole thing specifically for this project, so I'd have an ADSR. Turns out I had a solder short. Why didn't that take out my big synth when I had it plugged in there? I don't think it's that protected on the board. I wonder if that short is new. Maybe replacing this will actually fix something. Where do you go? You go right here. You go in the square hole. This is what I loathe through hole. Absolutely loathe. There was a soldering iron tip that I was thinking about buying, and it was specifically for removing the SOT23s, the little 3-pin surface mount transistors. I was like, you know, they're not hard to remove. You just skip the iron from pad to pad. But this is something where you could go straight down on the whole thing and it would just like remove the whole part at once. Nah, it's too much of a monotasker. I don't think I would get a lot of good use out of that. Even though we do stuff with that kind of transistor. Not a lot, but we often see them. Through hole, dun dun, electronics, dun dun dun. Through hole, dun dun, electronics, dun dun dun. Stupid. All right, there we go. That's soldered in. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I put it in right? Yes. Okay, so it's facing the right direction. It is indeed an N channel. It is a BC547. 547 marked N. Okay, yeah, so everything's correct. Let's trim these and then let's see if this thing powers up without blowing up. It really, to be fair, really shouldn't blow anything up. It really, it was very rude of it to do earlier. Ow, don't do that. Don't brush the electronics with your fleshy finger because it'll cut you. The little ends that these things, even flush cutters, they'll clip and they'll like press the metal in so it's like a razor sharp point. Through hole electronics, man. I hate them. There was a little piece of wire, one of the leads. No, I guess it's gone. Okay. All right, so ADSR 312. Let's try this again. This is powered on currently, so we should see a spike or not, and it should not take out the rest of my stuff. Nothing. That's good. That's a good kind of nothing. No heating up over here. It'd be nice if we saw a mild warmth from some of our electronics. Let's also observe this not working from a pulse. Well, that's a gate. This is pulse. And nothing from the LED. Check the output. Very interesting. I mean, something moves a little bit. What if I take the gate and I give it just a big thud in its pulse? Do this so it actually hits. I think that's actually doing stuff. So that'll sustain for a long time. That'll decay more. And then on release, instant release, yoink. And then no release. It just goes until the next pulse. I think we have an ADSR. Oh, and this thing is doing its job too. And it does turn a little green. Oh no, it just turns red. Very, very good, very good. All right, this works. Love Reddit, found the Zim quote I was trying to say. It's the episode. Walk for your lives. Oh yeah, the explosion. The dib monkey was in the field. Too bad he was destroyed. But he wasn't. That's the one with the moving joke. The watch the monkey. Pivot. I see. I do remember that. Yeah, I'm not doing the voices. I can't listen. What is the voice actor again? That's famously the voice director of Has Been. Richard Steven Hovitz. I can't do Richard Steven Hovitz. I can't. He has so much energy to put into that voice, and it's just absolutely like top tier professional voice acting. I cannot do a Zim. I just can't. Everybody thinks it's just loud and funny, but there's a lot going on in that voice. It's actually kind of amazing. I mean, like Nickelodeon is at that time was hiring like the best of the best. Yeah, all the voices are over the top. Yeah, exactly. Quite good. And Enter the Florpus was actually really good. I was surprised about how good that was. Let's hook this up a little better so that we've got the front panel and everything. Went into Enter the Florpus with no expectations of like, you know, it's going to be a product of the time and maybe they're going to lean into the haha random a little too hard and it's going to be kind of irritating. And no, they did a wonderful job. A great movie. We're going to need the scope in just a minute. Capturing the feel of the original without being too annoying. It's just a shame that they cut off Zim so quickly and kind of soured Vasquez against them. I wonder what it took. Probably a big pot of money to get them all back. Because I guess the Enter the Florpus, the main outline of it was probably the last season. So they were going to conclude it up in kind of a similar way. Never got a chance. And then they got 20 years later. It's like, hey, we want to ride this nostalgia wave and give you guys a movie. I don't know. I haven't exactly watched a documentary about it. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm speculating about literally everything. All right. ADSR. So attack, decay, sustain, and return back to zero. It's release. It's release. It's basically the way your piano keys sound. Boom. There's a hit, a sustained note, sort of the guitar string resonating, and then when you release the key, it tapers off. Because in a piano, when you release the key, something will come down and mute that string. I have a whole piano display unit that I bought on eBay, and it's the coolest thing ever, except that I'm missing some of the parts for it. They got displaced while moving, so I probably need to get some dowel rod and a little bit of felt in order to make some pushers back so that the pedals can work again. But it's one of those really cool display units that'll teach you how a piano actually works. It's kind of a complicated instrument when you get down to it, because when you hit that key, it'll move a muter out of the way, strike it, allow it to resonate, and then you release the key and the thing comes back down. So the ADSR kind of resembles that process, and it allows you to shape your noises appropriately. And you can use it for other stuff. An ADSR you can use for other stuff. You could use it to twiddle an effects knob and things like that. But in our case, the traditional use of the ADSR is to shape your notes. So you're not just going beep, bop, bop, boop, bop. Instead it goes boom, boom. You know, it makes that sort of sound shape feel more authentic. It's the synthesis of the synthesizer. So if we put, in our case, just our big stinky ugly wave into the trigger, nothing happens. Oh, because we aren't powered on, did I didn't plug power in. The first step in synthesizing sounds is to provide power to your units. Yoink. Double yoink. I'm probably going to need more of these, and I'll probably have to figure out how to build a 1U version of it where I don't have, because it's only 4 knobs and 4 plugs, and I mean, 2 of those are outputs. So really, 3 plugs, 4 knobs, I could definitely make that happen. Of course, I could probably also find other ADSRs that have other controls on them too. But I put the pulse is too fast. That's not triggering anything. So if I put a trigger and I use a gate for a trigger, we can see the red light comes on. And if we look at our envelope and I speed it up significantly, oops, I slow it down significantly. And I make the signal actually work. Why does it look all messed up? Give it a higher return, a little bit more delay, and then let's, I think I'm in the wrong direction. Yeah, I want to measure this on like a much longer scale. Oh, this is as far as I can go. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's funny. We had it working a lot more cliche. If I give them both. Yeah, I don't think the trigger's long enough. It doesn't do anything. So using the gate as the trigger is kind of the key. That almost did it. Attack. Delay a little less. Sustain. Fully sustained. And then quick return. See, I'm not seeing it like roll by in the way that I saw it before, so I don't know what's going on with this. My scope setup. I'm in like 2 nanoseconds, so that seems... Oh, I see. I was going in the wrong direction. Okay, so there it is. Nice slow roll on the O-scope should give us a better impression. I gotta put my finger there because that's just how this thing works. Okay, so that's slow attack. This would be quick attack. You see how quickly that goes up to the voltage? And then if I lower the decay, see how it goes directly back down from that attack? So loud, soft. I can draw it out a little bit. So now it goes, and then it settles on that voltage. Lower the sustain, and you see it starts to drop off. Whoa. So, larger sustain, much. Oops, that was the wrong one. Much larger, much larger disdain, much larger sustain. So tomorrow we are going to be able to actually give it a signal based on notes that are hit, and if the return is fully out, you can see it's tapering down. So quick return causes it to just go when you release it. Quick release, rather. Big decay. Small decay. Is that voltage controlled, or can you use MIDI? So what I can do is I can get a trigger signal off of MIDI, put it into this, and have this turn up and down my voltage controlled oscillator. So the voltage controlled oscillator will determine what note it is, but then this will make it sound more like a note going boing. And so you can branch out your trigger signals and have them do multiple things. So going into distribution and then going into the trigger would be pretty useful for this. Now, what I can't do is the thing that triggers those cat noises. And this is gonna go all haywire when I take my thumb off for some reason. I don't know why this needs it, but having a human body damper does something for this. I don't know why. It's a mystery. Anyway, so what we'll be able to do tomorrow is get this to actually make sounds, and then we'll hear what they sound like. Yeah, maybe a floating ground. Yeah, that could be. I'm not going to troubleshoot this thing right now. This thing is going to become this thing, which will be wire wrapped and much easier to sort of alter and troubleshoot. With the ADSR, if I was able to quicken that envelope, making the timing. Sorry, they're doing the yard work here right now. If I could make that speed up, that'll make the signature meow noise. So I don't know how we can get that to speed up and slow down. There's no control voltages into this thing for all the parameters. So this is such a rudimentary ADSR that we can't make meow noises. But maybe with Crimes and Ornamentation, there will be a program that'll do this, and perhaps if we're lucky, we'll get like a control voltage into it and we can make meow noises. And I think that'll be a fun stream for tomorrow. So now that we have this ADSR working, I think I have every piece that I would need in order to properly create and synthesize sounds, right? VCF, voltage controlled frequency. No, that's voltage controlled filter. You have filters, you have envelopes, you have amplifier, VCA, you have ADSR, you have low frequency oscillators, LSO, I think there's an even lower frequency oscillator. I'm not sure what those are called, but triggers and gates and all kinds of other different things. But filters are important. You know, you've got this topography of the synthesizer. We'll look up some of that stuff tomorrow because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I have no idea what I'm going to be doing, but we have 1 hour for each session in order to create something interesting, and maybe just to dedicate just a tiny bit of that time looking up like a synthesizer topography and then imitating it. Because I've got the keyboard, I've got the MIDI input, I've got all of the modules that we've built over the past like year of doing this. But I am not Notes and Volts. I am not, who was the other synthesizer fella that was that raided the other day? I could just probably look at this because nobody ever raids my channel. It's just Code Rushed again and again and again. Code Rushed. What did that was a little parachute. Looking for the little parachute. T2SDE. Was that a synthesizer? T2SDE? That might have been a synth channel. Unknown user rated you with a party of 71 viewers. When was that? Why is that unknown user? Did they get banned or something? Why is that unknown? I never knew an unknown user could raid. I think that's something after the fact. There's a Code Rushed raid. That's another Code Rushed. I think, and then another unknown with 55 viewers is... That wasn't Soding. Was that Last Miles? Is Last Miles an unknown No, that can't be. Because I think that was Last Miles. Everybody go check out Last Miles if you can. Let me, hold on, let Twitch TV. Last Miles. The channel is currently unavailable due to a violation of Twitch's continuity guidelines and terms of service. Okay, I just spilled a bunch of shit all over my... Hold on. I swept my arm. And I pooped a bunch of water all the way across all this stuff. The solution for that is simple. It's something that I've done many times. I just need to find the device. There it is. We contribute to all the white noise. Okay. Yeah, this is sent in by a viewer anonymously, but this is essentially one of these really powerful three-phase outrunner motors in a little duct, and it works really well for spray air, although it's loud. All right, so let me just clean up this water and hope that everything works. Maybe my floating ground problem will get solved by it. What happened to Last Miles? Last Miles is just gone, and they say that there was a violation from the channel. Did they play something that they shouldn't have? I haven't been keeping up with the Last Miles lore, but I think they're the last person I would expect to have some kind of a violation on Twitch's terms and services, but I guess I'm not allowed to talk about them, even. That's crazy. Listen, Last Miles has been real good to the show. They're very friendly. They've raided with a lot of people. They've contributed a little bit. I think they subbed or donated or something one time. So, like, you know, I'm concerned. What the hell happened? Hopefully they can jump in Discord maybe if they need our help. But that's just insane that they would be got. ADHD Degenerate. Again, I'm not allowed to say the name because Twitch is like. I'm not going to say it. I'm not allowed to say his name, but he was apparently banned for 6 days and can appeal eventually, but really draconian kind of stuff. Has just said something that was like joking, that wasn't even that bad. I'm not going to repeat it, just saying something about America's closest ally, according to me. And it got him in trouble. Some sniveling little Twitch viewer reported him, and then some admin took one look at it and did what admins do, and he has like 0 chances of appealing it. It's insane that stuff can happen so easily. Luckily for us, that was just seltzer water, so there wasn't a whole lot of liquid carried by that. Oops, this one. This thing outputs a lot of air. All right, spill managed. Let's see if we still blow up when we power up. It seems okay. Of course, as soon as I say that, the whole thing blows up, overheats, blows up, takes us all out with it. Of course. Wait a minute, nothing? Uh-oh. Nothing? Did it take out the micro? That's doing stuff, but it's not full. Hold on. What the heck? Uh-oh, we might have taken out our power supply, maybe? My phone just did a thing. I don't know why that turned on and off. Whoa, what is going on there? Is the 12-volt power supply working? How are we doing on heat down here? 15 is getting warm. That always gets warm, though. Something messed up. Plugged in fully there. Is that wet at all? I don't see any water. I think I took this thing out. I think it's dead. DOA. Why did that almost work? I like how my method of troubleshooting this is poking it with my hand. I did it. No, you didn't. I just did it. We got the ADSR 312 working. Wait, now that one's working? Oops, I hit reset on that. I just spilled seltzer all over everything. I discovered that one of the channels that raids my channel, Last Miles, disappeared due to some TOS violation. And I've been seeing that go around a lot. It doesn't, Twitch won't do anything unless people report a channel. But I find it completely and utterly bonkers that someone like Last Miles is just another weird beard old man that does cool electronics stuff that you guys should absolutely check out when they exist again, is gone. They're just gone. And no appeal. I'm not allowed to mention them technically. I'm not allowed to talk about banned channels. The handheld Dust is great. I have one too. Somebody sent this in. I'm pretty sure it was Short Lurker, but they wanted to be anonymous. So I should probably honor that. If it wasn't Short Lurker, I'm sorry. And if it was, then it was Short Lurker. But they sent it in, and I sort of did a little review of it. This thing, I'm not taking it apart. I think I did take it apart at the time, but I'm not going to because it's too useful of a tool. I don't know if we broke something, if we broke a power supply. It's the best out there. Pretty cool. Thank you for your time. Yeah, exactly. Just unceremoniously dumped. That's so crazy. So if you guys didn't know, 215 Big John is who dropped off the robot lawnmower. I'm going to take this thing to it outside and get all the grass scrap out because it's like an allergy nightmare. And then at some point, and not tomorrow, but we will take a look at that thing and figure out what's going on. Took that to BM and it survived like a champ. That's crazy. And it was Wolfbox. It was the same product. Yeah, I gotta charge this thing when I'm done, but this thing has saved my butt a couple times. I tried to scrape it off. Yeah, I'll get in there. I'll get like a soft brush, like a horsehair brush, get in there and get some of that stuff out so that we can get it over here. But that's not going to be this week. Maybe next week or the week after. I will try to do right by it. That's not plugged in all the way. It's going to take a lot of like voltage humping. We're just going to follow the voltage all the way around. Refer to it as Momo. I'll try to remember that. Keep correcting me and I will get it right eventually. It is not out of malice that I do not refer to it correctly. That's what I tell all my friends that transition. I'm not doing it out of malice. I am doing it out of stupid. Just correct me. There's nothing wrong with being corrected. Yes, Momo has a little hat and googly eyes. The googly eyes are key. Those are actually quite necessary. Okay, that still feels wet. Okay. That is a lot of very powerful cleaning. The power of dry. I put a lot into this thing just to have it taken out by a seltzer bottle. Oh, okay. We're broken now. It couldn't handle the inrush. Yeah. I'll never tell. It just, what? Wait, huh? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay, that's pulse. This one should be triangle. Although the plug is like loose. You triangling? Triangulating? Elevating? That should be a wave. I think I either took out the amplifiers or the I2S boards. The microcontroller's working. We can see that. I prefer porter. IPA. I don't... Look, the last time I tried to use alcohol... Why is the one that was broken working? The last time I tried to use alcohol to clean something, it was my main keyboard. And if you saw on the Discord today, I had to buy another keyboard. I bought a $60 keyboard instead of my beautiful Code 10 keyless that I've completely taken over by putting a Pico Pi in there. Yeah, well, I got to throw that out now because the alcohol that I used to try to clean the Fresca out of the keyboard, the diet grape soda that doesn't leave behind much of a residue because it doesn't have sugar in it, I hit it with alcohol that I had used to clean a 3D print. I did not know that I was using the super clear alcohol that I had used to clean a 3D print. And so I sprayed it outside and then I went to dry it and there's a residue all over everything. And the whole keyboard is just done. Maybe at some point I could get my Cherry MX clears out of there, but this is not what ought to happen. Why do you do this to me? Okay, so my module testing module's all kinds of messed up. I think maybe I just need to leave it alone for a while because it's kind of done with my shit. At least we know that the power supply probably is working because these signals are going to full positive and negative 10 volts. I have pure IPA if you need. I distill it after my resin prints. And you have too much. I don't understand how you do resin printing. There's a thing. Years and years ago, it was like during the pandemic, I went and visited Big John at one of his shops. I don't think that shop's there anymore. But anyway, or it's still there, but he's moved away from it or something like that. But anyway, I visited and he showed me he had a bunch of resin printing stuff. And that was before I did anything with resin printing. How do you do that without getting resin in like your mouth? I got resin in my mouth. I don't know how I did it. It got into my cuticles, and then I went, I'm going to bite my thumbnail. That tastes like horrible almonds. I think I am now infected with something. God, I hate that. The resin is terrible. It's really good for making nice, accurate prints. I mean, I was able to make some pretty cool stuff. Modeling it in Fusion, taking somebody else's Thingiverse thing, and then modeling it in Fusion, and then printing something that's weak enough that it explodes when you crash it into a curb. Be glad to show you my process. What I need to do is move my process so that it's more local, because I have the ultrasonic cleaner, and at one point I filled it completely with the alcohol, but the distillation and stuff, you've got that special one that like lowers the cage down and handles all the nasty stuff for you, and that would be nice. But I think what I need to do is be more militant about gloving up. I grabbed the bottle of alcohol and I did not know that it was filled with bad alcohol. So I took out a bunch of stuff. It was nasty, but it took me a while to figure out a good way of doing it. I think if I keep things a little bit more close by, all good, ultrasonic cleaner, gloves are necessary. I've seen 99% rubbing alcohol. Is distilling it doing something different? That's a question for them, not for me. I don't know. Is it raining? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing water noises. Yeah, I gotta figure out the process a little better. I was gonna do this car body in smoked and then use the airbrush to brush the car body back on so that I've smoked windows on this so you can see the LEDs inside giving you statuses and stuff. This is the $200 1/24th scale RC car. This thing is awesome. It goes 35 miles an hour without the gyro activated. So salvage tainted alcohol instead of dumping it. Yeah, and that's what distilling helps you salvage. And I was thinking about doing that, but I didn't know that this was, because I used the super clear resin in it, the ones that I did, you know, my perverted anime statuettes in. This stuff was in that alcohol. And so now it's gotten all over my Code 10 keyless. And that was kind of the last straw for that keyboard. We've cleaned that one up before. It was hyper, super duper gross because I'm a being that's almost comprised entirely of hair. That all gets in there and it's just terrible. Yeah, just bad. So I messed up 2 nights ago and I completely just sent my keyboard out to lunch. Unfortunately, ADSR 312, this thing works. It's so rudimentary, it barely has anything that could be considered more complicated than a PNP transistor on it. So in spite of vomiting water all over this thing, it will still function. What is happening? Why is this thing so, why is this happening to my module testing module? It's like, and as soon as I do this, where are we resolving the floating ground? Here? Up here. I can like correct it through magic. This is why we got to rebuild this thing. This thing is really nice at giving me just the very basic signals that will trigger synthesizer stuff to happen. But it is not really enjoying its time right now. So in general, it's really nasty and toxic. Gloves, bins, isolated area. But if you got it locked in, it's a great way to print. It makes some really nice details, like really nice details. That's why people use it to print all their perverted statuettes of anime titties and stuff. Here's my perverted statuette of an anime titty, and it does really, really well. I mean, it even got this detail in here. So if you are trying to like proof something and look at something that's designed and maybe like you put your special touch into the cod piece over here, you can print with really good accuracy. And also, if I really wanted to, if I paint this, I could leave the eyes clear and put a red LED behind them, which is always fun to do. You can do all that with resin. It is unfortunately a little bit brittle unless you get into some severely toxic prints though. Personally, the RC car is printed in resin because it's funny when it explodes. And I'll have to get my operation back up and running. I had the whole bed get crazy. You can put an LED into the butt and then it'll light up the eyes. Also, you could put a green LED behind like the fusion core and stuff. Pretty cool. I was shocked. I just found the model on Thingiverse. I was like, yeah, Fallout, let's go. Let's do a, you know, whatever, Imperial. It's not Imperial. What is it again? It's the Enclave body armor. I was like, I love the Enclave power armor. I am going, the ones from the cover of Fallout 2, which was the Fallout that I love. And so I printed it, not expecting much from it. And it created this like brilliant print. There's some weirdness on the interior there. There's some weirdness, but it printed this with amazing detail. I mean, look at how tight that ass is. Crazy. I mean, look at how all the detail on the COD. I mean the helmet. The helmet. I should finish designing my $30 resin printer someday. The one that we got was actually the Enclave X1. Yeah, that's right. I thought it was X2. X2's that's different. Is that? Oh man, I'm fuzz brain today, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. So what we did is we bought a broken resin printer from eBay. It was the previous model's flagship resin printer. It had problems with the UV light flickering. So we took the whole thing apart, and it turns out the giant UV LED that they put into the monochrome screen, that giant UV LED's contacts were frayed just a little bit. And so we just kind of went like this, and we put it back into the screw terminals and screwed them up. I now have a previous generation flagship, 1440p, whatever you want to call it, resin printer. So we've done a couple of cool resin prints with it. I don't know if we have anything particularly, useful for the show planned. Something like screen bevels and things like that we can do. The resin printer is not really good at smooth surfaces and straight lines. You can get them to do that if you position things funny. But what model was that? I don't remember. I don't remember. Hold on, wait. 1440p resin 3D printer. Not any cubic, not uniform, ultracraft. No. Oh, I believe it's an Elegoo. But it's like a previous generation Elegoo. It was in crazy shape when it came in because they just threw it into a package and sent it. It might be a Saturn. Yeah, it might be the Saturn. It's got a pretty big build area, but it's like the smoked plastic cover for the thing was just full of resin because they just threw it in a bin and sent it, and resin just went everywhere. So we had to take the whole thing apart, get alcohol on all the surfaces to get everything out. Black in color. It has a color screen, a color touch screen on the front, but it's like a smoked black tub that goes over it. I've wanted to build an enclosure for it with a door, but getting all the rail parts is expensive. All right, anyway, I think I'm out of content for today. We fixed the ADSR and then I immediately blew it up by spilling seltzer all over it because I discovered that a fellow streamer's channel might have been nuked without my knowledge, which is disturbing. I've seen a couple enforcement actions on behalf of Twitch that have been a little too heavy-handed. I don't know what in the world would take that guy out. Knowing a little bit of their personality and sort of their content, I don't see why that would have happened. Why they would have done that. Oh, the wave is back. It's still, everything is infected with this 60 hertz hum. I got to figure out what that is. Well, or I just need to build the other module and just have it sort itself out. Yeah, Saturn, but I forget which one it was, but it's good. It works really well. But the car body is the only real resin project that I've got going on. I sort of jumped into the resin printer and I printed 2 or 3 things, and then I was like, now what? Because what am I doing with a resin printer? Most of the stuff that I print around here is for function. It's for engineering stuff. It's for brackets and stuff that mounts things to things. And so PETG has just been my go-to. My printer, my PETG printer, the thing sitting behind me, the mutant that it is, can't really do things that look all that pretty. And I'm okay with that because it makes things strong. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to drag it out. I never drag things out. I end the show instead of going until exactly the right time. So we're close to the amount of time. Oh, we're in an ad in 1 minute and 3 seconds. So I'm going to let the ad run. Let's let the ad run in 1 minute 3, and then I'll say my goodbyes when I come back. In the meantime, I am just going to go on Discord and set up the end card, which I forgot to do. My Blue Sky got hacked and I haven't been able to get it back. I need to send them an email about that, because they sent me an email back that basically said, you need to talk to whatever they are, the customer service. You need to send it to an email to them. And I did many, many years ago. Well, 1 year ago, but they never got back to me. It was ridiculous. So we're back tomorrow. If you need engineering grade, I have a bunch of half rolls of stuff you're welcome to. I do have a big collection, but I mean, maybe I do. Hold on, wait. When am I'm coming back tomorrow. It's Friday, 10th. And then when we come back from this ad, we'll say our goodbyes. The one thing that I recently that I bought is TPE. I want to see if I can print some soft stuff, but I don't have a particular use for it at the moment. That's the soft stuff. Don't you need a chamber for that? I think you do. I don't have anything fancy. It's literally just the printer that's sitting back in the corner over there. And it was an, what was it, an Ender 3 or something? Old type of printer. And, I don't know, it just worked. All right, there's our ad. So we are in an ad break as I ADSR this thing. You could just work without me having to put my finger on you. You devil machine. Apparently the last title in Last Miles channels was Nipples Out for 28 degrees C. Is that what took him out? Was he shirtless or something? You're allowed to be shirtless in spaces where it's appropriate to be shirtless on Twitch. So if I was at the gym, that's not the place. It was only a 40-minute stream. Do you think he got hacked? Because I don't think Last Miles is the type to kind of poke the bear like that. Yeah, normal stream is 4 hours. I wonder if he got hacked. That's scary. I can't, that's unbelievable. But like, if you're at the beach, it's totally fine to be shirtless on Twitch. Last Miles is also not the kind to get hacked, is he? That's all I can assume. That's when behavior like that happens on the internet, I have to assume hacked. People don't just go crazy and start posting weird shit on their channels, you know? That's what happened to my Blue Sky. I want to get my Blue Sky back, man. That was, well, it's healthier to not have any social media, to be honest. My social media is Discord and streaming. I have to hold my thumb here or the signal gets all crazy. It starts not triggering properly. I don't understand. It's some ground thing is going on here. Well, at least we know that the ADSR works. I got my little trigger light here. It's doing its job. 50 seconds until we're back from the ad. Do. Huge attack. Oh, that's actually a very slow attack. Very quick attack. Dong. Dong. Slower attack. Huge decay. George decay? Fast decay. Doink. Slower decay. Beautiful. This is what the piano sound would be. 9, 8. Yeah, I lost viewers during the ad break, and probably also because I said I was closing down streams, so. Yeah, I think the ad breaks are hurting us. I think tomorrow might be our last ad break stream. My numbers are terrible. They're much better on YouTube, though. Wait, when did I get 90 views on YouTube? People saying my shop is awesome. Yeah, that's, well, really good to hear. But man, 100 views on YouTube is crazy. Do you think we kicked everybody off of YouTube and onto, or off of Twitch and onto YouTube? Is that what's going on? Maybe it's just doing fun stuff like this. That was a good fix, though, because it was nice and easy. It's possible that the transistor was bad. We replaced one transistor, and then we found a solder short on one capacitor that was connected from, you know, like ground to -12. It was one of those, but there was solder wiped across it. And so fixing that almost immediately. I've been promoting the crap out of your channel. much respect. I respect you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that, WHEEE. That's very nice of you to do. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. Definitely don't have to. I will not encourage you guys to do anything. Don't act out for bother. Especially don't take body parts out for bother, because apparently Last Miles got murked because of that. Matt, I have a little notepad that said "be nice to." Where did that go? I don't have it anymore. But Last Miles is on that list. Oh man, you got a lot of good info to share. Hey, I appreciate people being on the up and up about that. I have accumulated weird information about physically building things over like a lifetime career of screwing around with electronics and generally fixing all of my friends' stuff. And so I'm happy to share that skill. I felt getting out of school, academia, macadamia, I had to escape that nut. It was weird. They don't teach a lot of the practical skills in a way that I absorbed as a weird, probably not neurotypical ADHD suffering, inattentive weirdo. They didn't really like portray this stuff as cool as it could be. And then I got through college and I was like, this stuff is way cooler than this. So I decided that I always needed a creative outlet, right? ADHDs of the world. Anyway, so I basically got out and I was like, all right, let's get a job. And I got a job that sounded really cool, but my creative outlets snuck back in, and I had to work more on that. And I decided that in between jobs, this would be a good way to kind of fill the time. Turns out, not easy to find a job in my field at all. I've made my name here on Twitch. It would be nice if the numbers reflected that, but we'll see. I have a ton of YouTube viewers today, which is awesome. I'm pretty happy about that. I am going to go. I'm going to take, I don't think I'll raid you guys into Rabaz because we don't have enough. It's not a significant amount of people. It's a good amount of people. 50 is a nice number, but if you guys want to check out a channel that's playing Kerbal Space Program and trying to go sort of multi-planetary, intersolar system civilization, check out Rabaz. It's like Robon with a Z at the end instead of an N, because that's all he did was twist the N and go, Rabaz, there you go, that's a good name. Yeah, so anyway, I'm back tomorrow. What we're gonna do tomorrow is we're gonna play the synthesizer, or we're gonna play with ourselves. What I'm gonna do is we're still running ads, so it's gonna hurt my viewers overall. We'll go back to pre-roll ads next week. We're going to continue to run ads tomorrow, but instead of the ads turning on this light, when the ads are rolling, I'm going to turn off the synthesizer. We'll have 45, 48 minutes in between sessions where I get to plug in the synthesizer, try to do something, figure out what's going on, take feedback from you guys, get ideas from you, and I'll talk us through it as we go in the usual gabbing fashion that I do on this show. I will talk about it the whole time. And then ads run, time expires, synthesizer turns off, tear everything out, start from scratch. So we'll have multiple sessions going through the synthesizer, figuring out what we can do and making unique sounds. I'm gonna have to hook up headphones for it and everything, but it should be a fun Friday. I'm hoping it'll be a fun Friday, where we make a bunch of audio noise and then some live copyright takedown comes in and Twitch bans me. You guys are pressing the willow button, you're pressing the fart box. All right, so I bid you adieu. I'm gonna leave you guys alone, and then we'll be back tomorrow and I will catch you then. Until then, I did the end card already, right? I'm gonna do it again, Do it again. And, all right, catch y'all later, have a good one, bye. Can't. Oh, I'm supposed to hit the button on the. What is that? What was that? Willow. That was a Willow idea. You give them one button, and all they do is push it until it breaks.